Chapter 255. Within the training room, Hong, who was dressed in black, held a pitch-black spear in his hand. And a white-clothed bald thunder god too was caressing the purple-black battle blade in his hands. Good weapon. Hong's eyes gleamed. The blade's structure, center of gravity, it's very comfortable to hold. It suits my blade. Thunder god couldn't help but compliment, and it's very sharp. Gently waving it, the blade felt like it was slicing through the air. Hong smiled and glanced at Thunder God. That armor is a treasure too. You've struck gold. Haha, looks like it's not just you and me brothers who've gotten treasures from the ancient ruins. This Luo Feng too has a few treasures. Thunder God couldn't help but compliment. Did he find some ancient armory? Otherwise, how could he find weapons that suit the two of us so well, and such good weapons too? Hong and Thunder God already had their own domains. Their levels were extremely high. Even if they had just gotten a weapon, they only needed to wave it a little and they would be able to unleash 120% of its power. Master. A low voice resounded. The swallowing monster has just appeared on the west coast of America, swallowing a dilapidated shipyard in the wilderness, swallowing many corroded ships. It's only flown out for 2 minutes and 18 seconds before returning to the sea. Hong and Thunder God's expressions changed. Last night, the swallowing monster had gone out to sea twice. Including this morning, this was the third time. Every time it flew out for a short period of time, swallowing large amounts of steel before returning to the sea. It's become extremely careful now, Hong said coldly. Obviously the laser cannon from before has made it cautious. However, from last night until now, it's come out to eat 3 times. It's definitely heavily injured and needs to absorb large amounts of energy to recover. Right, we can't wait any longer. Thunder God emphasized. Hong nodded. They originally wanted to wait for the swallowing monster to fly out of the sea and meet with an opportunity to kill it. However, they didn't expect the swallowing monster to go out for a short period of time before immediately hiding. Follow and lock onto the swallowing monster's energy. We'll fly out to the sea and follow it. The moment it appears. Thunder God's gaze was sharp. Let's go. Hong was even more direct. They were very clear, right now, the devourer beast was in a heavily injured state. If they wasted this opportunity, the devourer beast's strength would completely recover. Then their chances would be even slimmer. On the outer wall of Yangzhou City, the Jiangnan Bay City was divided into the main city area and the 8 cities of David. The 8 cities of David surrounded the base city. So when the war started, the real fighting was in the 8 citadels. The main city was in the innermost area, so it was the safest. Unless they were attacked by the devourer beast, there was usually no problem. Xiao! 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 Blades danced in the air, sweeping past the wide river under the steel walls. This river was dug here by billions of monsters from a certain point in the Yangtze River. This river was 12 kilometers long and nearly 60 meters wide. Countless sea monsters were rushing towards Yangzhou City. They weren't afraid of death at all. They're retreating! They're retreating! The soldiers on the city wall shouted excitedly. Too many monsters died and they blocked up the river. The monsters behind couldn't come over. Plus those horde leader monsters from before, Luo Feng killed so many of them in an instant. Of course they have to retreat to clear the river and replenish their forces. Li Dewei gazed below. We have about 2 hours to rest. Luo Feng gazed down at the countless monster corpses that blocked up the river. He couldn't help but shake his head. There were too many monsters. Every day, countless monsters were born in the ocean. Could humanity even kill them all? In a short period of time, humanity could hold them off. However, the longer it dragged on, the worse it would be for humanity. The worst would be the devourer beast destroying the steel walls of the base city. The moment there was no protection from the steel walls that had been built for tens of years, the sea monsters would directly enter the human residential areas. Then, it would be over. So right now, they had to get rid of the devourer beast. Luo Feng looked at his tactical communications watch. It was the Dojo of Limits and Thunder Dojo's official announcement. 2 dojo heads, Hong and Thunder God, had already set off. They had arrived at the Pacific Ocean and were about to battle the devourer beast. Beside, Li Dewei lowered his head and looked at his tactical communications watch. Has it begun? Li Dewei's face had a rare hint of nervousness. Commander Li, I'll return to my quarters first. If there's any trouble, inform me immediately. Luo Feng instructed before swiftly flying away. Luo Feng flew in the air above Yangzhou City. He could clearly see that many of the big screens in the city had already switched to the Pacific Ocean. On the screen, there was a black-clothed man and a white-robed bald youth flying side by side. This made Luo Feng's heart ache. Humanity's last hope? Luo Feng thought. Regarding the Dojo of Limits and Thunder Dojo's decision to publicize this news and broadcast it to the entire world, Luo Feng understood. After all, the leaders and founders of the 2 dojos had to fight to the death. There was a high chance that they would fall. How could the 2 dojos let their leaders silently sacrifice themselves? And to the countries of the world, this was a chance to ignite humanity's fighting spirit. If Hong and Thunder God succeeded, it would be a joyous occasion. If they failed, they could use this opportunity to ignite humanity's fighting spirit. Mingyu District. As the Dojo of Limits Fighter District, they had already begun gathering all the residents to head to the dojo. The Dojo of Limits' largest training hall. Right now, close to 1,000 people were gathered. On the huge walls of the training hall hung a huge screen, projecting onto it. It was the Pacific Ocean. At this time, Hong and Thunder God, the 2 strongest fighters in human history, are flying side by side in the Pacific Ocean. Their target is the strongest existence of the sea monsters, the swallowing monster. Beside them, a voice explained the battle. This battle was broadcasted live by the countries of the world. Including the leaders of the various countries, they were all nervously watching. Humanity's 2 strongest fighters to date, fighting to the death. Investigator Luo, how powerful is that swallowing monster? The 2 heads will definitely win. A youth standing behind Luo Feng said softly. Luo Feng glanced at this youth. This youth was a new fighter who had just moved into the Mingyu district. Looking at this youth, Luo Feng felt like he was looking at himself back when he first moved into the Mingyu district. Yes, they will definitely win, Luo Feng said firmly. Close to 1,000 people stood in the training hall, all looking up at the huge screen. As time was short, the dojo couldn't gather that many chairs. What's more, at this time, no one cared about that. Luo Feng's family was among them. Luo Feng held Su Xian's hand, quietly watching the screen. At this time, the entire world was watching the 2 strongest fighters in human history, one black-clothed, one white-clothed. The 2 of them were like legendary gods flying in the night sky. Indeed, even though it was currently noon in China, Hong and Thunder God's area of the ocean was already dark. Haha, Brother Hong, how many people do you think are watching us right now? Thunder God smiled. Probably over 6 billion. Hong smiled as he glanced at him. At this time, you still have the time to think about this. What's wrong? Can't you be happy before you die? Thunder God smiled. Cheeky, you've been cheeky for a few decades, even at this time you're still cheeky. Hong smiled as he said, at this time, the 2 of them had an unprecedented state of mind. They had long disregarded life and death, throwing everything to the back of their minds. They only had one goal, to kill the swallowing monster. In this state, the 2 of them felt unprecedentedly relaxed. Every cell in their bodies seemed to be boiling, ready to battle. Master, the swallowing monster is swiftly flying towards the surface. It'll be out of the water soon. A voice resounded in Hong's mind. In terms of AI systems, actually, Hong had acquired quite a few AI systems, like the Palace of War God's virtual space, or the Dojo of Limits internal phone call that always had a low voice. For Hong to be able to take out so many treasures to exchange for, one could only imagine his gains. After all, he was the world's strongest warrior. Many of the treasures from the ruins before were taken away by him alone. Like back then during Luo Feng's investigator ceremony, Hong flipped his hand and the limit investigator badge appeared. That was because he had a space to store items. In terms of quality, Luo Feng's was better than his. However, in terms of quantity, he had more than Luo Feng's. Fly out of the water? Hong's eyes gleamed. Go over there. Hong ordered softly. So. One black and one white, two beams of light swiftly flew southwest. Under the night sky, the winds howled, the deep sea water was crazily churning, each wave was at least 10 m tall. Rumble! A terrifying monster fiercely rushed out of the water. It had scaled wings, 4 claws, a powerful tail, and a golden horn that pierced towards the sky. However, the golden engravings on the horn seemed to be a little dimmer than before. However, its dark golden eyes were even crazier than before. That was a craziness from suppressing its rage. It was currently constantly recovering its strength. Once its strength was sufficient, it would definitely take revenge, ruthlessly take revenge. Howl! The golden-horned beast immediately flew 10 kilometers out of the sea, suddenly stopping, slightly twisting its head. Its dark golden eyes seemed to be able to see 100 kilometers away. It had already detected the two energies. However, such a weak energy actually dared to provoke it. This made the golden-horned beast extremely furious. The nobility of its bloodline, it had an absolute arrogance. Looking at the vast universe, it was one of the pinnacle bloodlines. In this weak little planet, a weak human actually dared to provoke it? Rumble! The scaled wings slightly flapped, immediately becoming a beam of light and flying straight towards Hong and Thunder God. The entire world held its breath at this moment. Mingyue District, within the Limit Hall's training hall, close to 1,000 people were nervously staring at the screen. On the screen, above the deep sea, the swallowing beast's huge body was already less than 1 kilometer away from Hong and Thunder God. Rumble! Rumble! Hong and Thunder God's bodies suddenly emitted a terrifying light. In an instant, they had already ignited their souls. The battle had begun in an instant. Hong, Thunder God, please. Luo Feng held Su Xian's hand, looking at her abdomen, and then looked up at the screen. P.S. 3 chapters completed. Actually, he had originally planned to write 4 chapters today, because Black and White was getting married. However, his finger joints were injured today, hence he could only maintain 3 chapters. Black and White, Happy Wedding. Chapter 256. Night. The deep black ocean roared madly, the wind howled, the land and skies were dark. And in the air above the ocean, humanity's most terrifying enemy, the swallowing monster, and humanity's 2 pinnacle fighters, Hong and Thunder God, had already clashed. Rumble! Rumble! Hong and Thunder God immediately began to unleash the final moves of a domain fighter. If they didn't have a domain, they wouldn't even have the ability to unleash this move. Hong's body, including the long spear in his hand, was immediately enveloped in a black light. Thunder God's entire body was enveloped in a snake-like green lightning. Ha ha! Thunder God laughed loudly. Ha ha! Hong laughed too. Xiao! Xiao! The two of them immediately formed 2 arcs, directly rushing from different directions towards the huge swallowing monster. The swallowing monster floated in mid-air, its dark golden eyes coldly looking at the 2 rushing humans. From its point of view, these 2 humans were just slightly stronger ants amongst the countless ants. Yang Zhou, Limit Hall Training Room. Luo Feng was beside his family, looking at the screen, extremely nervous. They're going all out, Luo Feng. This Hong and Thunder God are going all out, directly burning their souls. Their battle will last at most 1 minute. Within 1 minute, if the swallowing monster isn't killed, then the 2 of them won't have any ability to resist at all. Babata's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. Luo Feng's heart tightened. Burning their souls, is it the same as the Yun-Mo planet spirit readers? In the Yun-Mo planet's many secret manuals, there were many regarding the basics, but in the mixed records, there were also many secret techniques of the Yun-Mo planet, such as the Soul Seal, a Tower of the Void, and many other secret techniques, all of them profound and powerful. Naturally, there were also techniques related to burning one's soul. Of course it's different in terms of technique level. The Yun-Mo planet secret techniques are much higher. However, even though the technique level is high, its power still can't compare to those two. Babata said, what they're unleashing now is a final move only a domain fighter can unleash. Soul, genetic energy, strength, willpower completely combined, communicating with the universe, exploding with the strongest power. It's extremely terrifying. If the opponent is killed in an instant, the two of them can still live. However, if the swallowing monster doesn't die, then they'll die. Babata said. Have the liquid silver guards arrived? Luo Feng asked. When he went to archaeological ruin number 12, Luo Feng obtained the liquid silver guard that had no energy left. However, after Babata repaired it and replenished its energy crystals, it could be used again. Soon. However, Luo Feng, liquid silver guards are bodyguards. If the two of them go to their deaths, the liquid silver guards won't be able to help. Babata said helplessly. Do your best and leave it to fate. Luo Feng stared at the screen. The conversation with Babata seemed long, but it was actually an exchange of thoughts that ended in an instant. However, it was only for a short while. The battle on the screen had reached its climax. It was a battle that could be called a stellar-level battle. Ordinary people could not see it clearly with the naked eye. They could only watch the replay, slow motion, and commentary on the screen. And Luo Feng. He was the only person in the training hall who could see the fight clearly. Not good, the swallowing move. Luo Feng's expression changed. Above the Pacific Ocean, the golden-horned beast's tail was like a shadow, instantly slicing through space, sweeping towards Hong and Thunder God. Purring! The golden-horned beast felt a strange, spinning force coming from the opponent's spear, causing the strength of its tail to be a little messed up. Howl! The golden-horned beast raised its head, letting out an earth-shattering roar. It was enraged. It originally thought that these two slightly stronger ants could be easily crushed and killed by it with its normal strength. However, after exchanging blows, it realized that these two seemingly tiny humans had extremely shocking battle capabilities. They were even stronger than the Star Level 1 humans from its inherited bloodline memories. Also, their blade and spear techniques were even more shocking. Every blade, every spear seemed to be made by the heavens, and it was completely unable to predict. It could be said that this golden-horned beast that had only been born for a year, with its long lifespan, was probably only comparable to a human baby that had just been born and drank milk. Even though its bloodline was noble and its inherited bloodline memories were extremely vast, other than its own natural abilities, there were many other memories and knowledge that needed to be learned. 1 year's time, how could it be enough to learn? In terms of level, even compared to Luo Feng, it was still a huge gap. If compared to Hong and Thunder God, who had stepped into the domain level, the difference would be like the difference between heaven and earth. The two powerful human warriors that had their souls ignited, compared to the heavily injured golden-horned beast, the difference wasn't that huge. Howl! The golden-horned beast opened its mouth. Not good! Careful! Hong and Thunder God's expressions changed. The entire world's powerful warriors watching this scene through the satellites all had a change in expression. Everyone had seen the golden-horned beast's peculiar swallowing ability. Rumble. Hong and Thunder God followed the battle plan from before, immediately flying towards the same direction. The two were actually together. The golden-horned beast's dark golden eyes gazed at these two tiny specks, even more enraged and crazed. These two tiny humans were simply looking for death. Originally it wanted to swallow one. Since they were together, then it would swallow the two together. Chi-Chi, a formless space energy spread out a few hundred meters, completely covering Hong and Thunder God's area. Brother Hong. Thunder God's expression changed slightly. Humph. Hong waved his hand. Immediately in front of Hong, in the space between Hong and the swallowing beast, a black mass of large amounts of metal wreckage appeared. Stacked so tightly that there was almost no space left. The large amount of metal wreckage, in terms of size, was even larger than the swallowing beast. 180 m long, 120 m wide, 100 m tall, it was roughly this number. Large amounts of metal wreckage were densely stacked together. One must know that Luo Feng's Black Dragon Mountain X-81 ship had a diameter of only 100 m or so, and even though there was a lot of metal in the ship, many of the halls, cabins, control rooms etc. were all empty, meaning to say the ships, transport battleships etc. were all just shells. It couldn't possibly be completely made of metal. However, in front of him was a thing made up of densely packed metal wreckages. I'll let you swallow, I'll let you swallow. Swallowing a few bases and you can't take it anymore. These are all ship wreckage from the archaeological ruins. In terms of quality, they are much higher than Earth's metal. And with this much metal, it's enough to build 10 adventure ships. Let's see if you can swallow it all. Hong's eyes were cold, thinking within. Using common sense, just like a human eating too much would make one bloat. I'll give you another point. Hong's gaze was cold, following which, he waved his hand again. Hua! A large bundle of long metal objects was tied together. Come, these are the ones I've collected from many countries, a total of 18 hydrogen bombs, and the ones used to ignite them. Hong took out the hydrogen bombs. Woo! The golden-horned beast angrily stopped swallowing, letting out an angry roar. It still remembered the power of a hydrogen bomb with a yield of 150 megatons last time. 18 of them at once? Even though they were small, the golden-horned beast didn't just randomly swallow them. And that 180 m long, 120 m wide, 100 m tall, huge amount of metal wreckage, it didn't dare swallow it either. Why did it continuously go out to the sea to swallow metal, and not a lot at once? It was because its appetite was limited. If a human ate too much, they would die. The same logic, it also didn't dare swallow so much metal at once. After all, one piece of metal was equivalent to 100 pieces of Earth's normal metal. Swallowing so much, its internal world would also collapse, and when the internal world collapses, it would die. Woo! Letting out an angry roar, the golden engravings on the horn of the golden-horned beast's forehead suddenly lit up. Its eyes also became a blinding gold. The gold light swiftly followed its neck and back, swiftly reaching its front claws, the sharp claws swiping forward. Pung! The large amount of metal wreckage was smashed and sent flying. The sharp claws immediately swiped towards Hong and Thunder God, who were behind the large amount of metal. However, when its huge claws had just swiped away the large amount of metal, a black energy wave immediately enveloped it. Its speed was shocking. Chi. A very light sound, like the sound of hair being burnt by fire, just like when the swallowing beast was hit by a B6 grade laser cannon. Chi. The black energy wave whistled past the claws, and directly struck the golden-horned beast's abdomen. That incomparably sturdy scale actually had a hole drilled through it. Brother Hong! A shrill cry resounded through the sky. A bolt of lightning madly rushed towards that hole. Woo! Feeling the black-clothed youth actually enter its body, the incomparably angry golden-horned beast clawed towards the lightning-wrapped bald white-clothed youth. Chi-Chi, the sharp energy swept past the white-clothed bald, Poochie, fresh blood and flesh flew everywhere. The white-clothed youth's waist and below were all turned into minced meat, only his upper body didn't shatter because of the armor Luo Feng gave him. Xiao! He didn't retreat, even if the lower half of his body became minced meat. He still had to rush in. He was very clear on their plan. The price Hong had to pay for using his ultimate move to drill into the golden horned beast was terrifying. Their original plan only had one line: the best way to kill the golden horned beast was to enter its body. Even if I die, I have to kill it. Half a white silhouette. His eyes were bloodshot, incomparably mad. Lightning wrapped around the lower half of the white silhouette, directly entering that hole. Whoa! The golden horned beast roared angrily. However, those two despicable humans had already entered its body. The entire world was silent. Luo Feng stared at the screen. On the screen was the incomparably angry golden horned beast. The right side of the screen was replaying in slow motion. In the replay, Hong's skin was dripping with blood, just like a demon, piercing through the golden horned beast's scales, drilling into its body. Thunder God, only half a white-clothed body was left, madly rushing into the swallowing beast's body, risking his life to kill the swallowing beast. P.S. Chapter 1 has ended. Chapter 257. Silence. When Hong and Thunder God entered the swallowing beast's body, almost everyone's hearts were in their throat. However, they couldn't see what was happening inside the swallowing beast's body. Babata, can Hong and Thunder God win? Luo Feng was anxious within. Don't worry, this Hong and Thunder God are Earth's two genius fighters, and they are both very smart and decisive. To deal with the swallowing attack, Hong brought out so many metal remains. He was probably worried that the golden horned beast would swallow them, hence he brought along a huge bundle of hydrogen bombs. This meant the golden horned beast wouldn't dare swallow them. Hong took the chance to prepare his ultimate move. Obviously, that move requires time to prepare and prepare. When the enraged golden horned beast's claws flew away the metal remains, Hong's ultimate move would be released. One trick after another, it's really beautiful. Babata exclaimed. Luo Feng, don't worry. Looking at these two's performance from start to finish, they've obviously made ample preparations. Now that they've entered the golden horned beast's body, it can't use its claws to attack, hence the success rate has risen to 50%, 60%. Babata's words, how could Luo Feng be at ease? He couldn't be at ease. Luo Feng stared at the screen. The golden horned beast is after all one of the space beasts with one of the most elite bloodlines. It actually allowed Hong and Thunder God to pierce through its scales and enter its body. It's too childish. Its battle techniques are too weak. Babata couldn't help but say, the few times it fought, it always relied on brute force. Indeed, with the golden horned beast's strength, talent, etc., as long as its techniques were a little higher, or a little smarter, it wouldn't have fallen to such a state. If it was a little stronger, we would have even less hope. Luo Feng was dissatisfied within. That's not what I meant. I mean, this golden horned beast is probably very young, just entering its growth stage. Maybe it's too young, that's why it doesn't have any experience at all. Its attacks are so simple and crude. Babata explained. Body, talent, etc., they were born with it. However, experience, techniques, mentality, cunning, etc., these all require time to grow. Even the intelligent Einstein of Earth, or the wise Sun Wu of the Warring States period, were all childish when they were babies. This golden horned beast, if it was allowed to grow for 10,000, 100,000 years, it would be incomparably terrifying. But now? Still very young. However, the young golden horned beast had already caused the humans of Earth to be on the brink of collapse. Above the Pacific Ocean. Woo! Woo! The golden horned beast let out furious roars of pain. Chi-chi rays of golden light emanated from the surface of its scales, occasionally seeping into its body, trying to kill the two detestable humans. Obviously, because the battlefield was within the golden horned beast's body, the golden lights that the golden horned beast emitted didn't dare be too barbaric, otherwise it would be self-mutilation and suicide. Boom! The golden horned beast's entire body shook violently. Its dark golden pupils contained a sliver of pain and rage. Bright red blood flowed from its mouth. Boom! The strange vibrations caused the golden-horned beast to raise its head and roar in pain. Beads of blood actually seeped out of the gaps between the layers of scales on its body. Boom! 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 Amidst the painful roars, large amounts of blood seeped out of the scales of the golden-horned beast. Within 10 seconds, its entire body was covered in a layer of blood. At the start, it was still roaring in pain, but as time went on, the roars became weaker and weaker, until finally there was no more sound. Suddenly, its dark golden pupils became dim, its huge scaled wings drooped, its enormous body actually powerlessly fell downwards. China, on the screens on the streets, at home, or in the barracks, its life force is weakening. The Devourer's massive life force is rapidly weakening. It's only at 80%, 70%, 60%, 50%, 40%, 30%. An extremely excited voice rang out in every corner of China. It wasn't just China, but the rest of the world was in an unprecedented state of excitement. "We've won! We've won! We've won!" Excited cries resounded. At the same time, everyone in the world was excited. At this moment, no matter man or woman, old or young, no matter what race, no matter what country, everyone in the world was excitedly cheering. Yangzhou City's Limit Hall's training hall, everyone was excited. Everyone was shouting excitedly. "We've succeeded. Its life force has disappeared." Luo Feng looked at the screen, at the falling body of the golden-horned beast covered in blood, extremely excited. "It's actually dead. This terrifying monster that caused humanity to feel despair was finally dead. My God!" At this moment, Luo Feng couldn't believe that happiness had arrived just like that. "What about Hong and Thunder God?" Luo Feng carefully stared at the screen. The voice of the broadcast resounded. "Everyone on Earth, we have to tell everyone a painful piece of news. Right now, we can't detect any life force, which means, even though the swallowing monster is dead. However, Earth's two most powerful fighters, the two heads, Hong and Thunder God, have already been sacrificed. They are heroes, heroes that saved the world." Silence. The training hall quickly quietened down. "Not necessarily." Babata's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. "Hong and Thunder God might not be dead." "Not necessarily. I thought we couldn't detect any life force?" Luo Feng's heart was filled with excitement and anticipation. He didn't want Hong and Thunder God to die just like that. "No, your Earth's life force detector was obtained from the ruins of the interstellar fleet. This detector actually has a range of detection. When the life force drops below a certain threshold, the detector won't be able to detect it. And the quality of the detector itself isn't as good as before. I estimate that if the life force is lower than a low-level student fighter, it won't be able to detect it." Babata explained. "No." A terrified voice resounded in the training hall. That swallowing monster stopped." Luo Feng froze, Su Xian beside him froze, everyone froze. Luo Feng looked over. The originally powerless golden-horned beast's corpse on the screen indeed stopped falling, floating there, and the screen showed that the golden-horned beast actually had life force again. "The swallowing monster's life force is getting stronger." The voice of the broadcast was filled with shock. Everyone was stunned. How? Luo Feng's eyes widened in disbelief. Why was it so hard to kill? After sacrificing so much, why isn't this swallowing monster dead yet? The golden-horned beast floated in midair, its life force continuously getting stronger. It returned to its original 10%, continued to rise 20%, all the way to 30%. Its life force rose to around 30%, then stopped rising. Countless people on Earth were in despair. Countless people cried. Countless people painfully kneeled down. My God! In the air above the Pacific Ocean, the golden-horned beast slowly opened its eyes. Its dark golden pupils were slightly dim and powerless. It had never been so close to death before. This time, it was even more terrifying than the B6-grade laser cannon from before. Howl. A low and powerless howl. The golden-horned beast looked at its stomach. The black-clothed man and the white-clothed man covered in blood slid out from the bloody hole in their stomach, and directly fell into the ocean below. The golden-horned beast looked at these two. It was these two seemingly tiny humans that brought it so close to death. This time's loss also made it understand one thing. Against those seemingly weak, it still had to use its full strength. Who? The golden-horned beast waved its claws. What? On the surface of the Pacific Ocean stood a silver-white human body. Suddenly its entire body began to expand. From 2 meters tall, it instantly expanded to 200 meters tall. A 200-meter tall silver-white giant. About the same size as the golden-horned beast. Howl. The golden-horned beast was shocked, looking at the silver-white giant below. The surface of the silver-white giant's body seemed to have a silver-white liquid flowing. It suddenly appeared, immediately extending its huge palm, blocking Hong, Thunder God and the swallowing beast. Poochie. The claw smashed into the palm actually caved in. However, when the golden-horned beast retracted its claw, the caved-in automatically recovered. When the silver-white giant blocked the golden-horned beast, another silver man grabbed Hong and Thunder God with both hands, swiftly fleeing into the distance. A total of 2 liquid silver guards. Luo Feng had Babata arrange for them earlier. If there was a chance, they would save Hong and Thunder God. Howl! The enraged golden-horned beast. How could it watch as the 2 humans it hated the most were taken away? With a flap of its wings, it moved like lightning past the liquid silver guard that was blocking it. It chased the other one. In terms of speed, the golden-horned beast was indeed very fast. The liquid silver guard's speed was a little over 10,000 m per second. The swallowing beast quickly caught up. Who? The liquid silver guard that was being chased fiercely expanded, becoming a huge silver giant, immediately enveloping the swallowing beast. And the other liquid silver guard swiftly grabbed Hong and Thunder God, continuing to run. After a while, the swallowing beast finally managed to escape. Howl! The swallowing beast looked angrily at the liquid silver guard that had already shrunk into a normal human. This weird thing, in terms of speed and attack power, couldn't compare to the black-clothed man and white-clothed man. However, its only advantage was its entire body was like liquid, and it could rapidly expand like a sticky candy that could wrap around a person. No matter how strong the attack, the liquid silver guard could deflect it. The swallowing beast understood. With 2 liquid silver guards working together, it really couldn't steal the 2 human bodies. Howl! Right now, the heavily injured and weakened swallowing beast only let out an angry roar, before flying straight into the ocean. Mingyue Sector, Limit Hall Training Hall. In the hallway, Luo Feng held his phone. Luo Feng's expression was ashen. Right, I sent them. It's useless, the liquid silver guards can only wrap around people and act as bodyguard. They can't kill the swallowing beast at all. Luo Feng hung up the phone with Jia Yi, his heart filled with pain. The others were shocked by the appearance of the 2 liquid silver guards, and even had a glimmer of hope. But Luo Feng was very clear. The liquid silver guards, as a high-tech product of the universe, had a very clear function. It was used for protection. What do I do? What do I do? Just what do I do? Babata, tell me, what do I do? Luo Feng was already on the brink of insanity. He painfully closed his eyes. The corners of his eyes were glistening. P.S. Chapter 2 has ended. Continue writing Chapter 3. Chapter 258. Huaxia, Northeast Bay City. Dad! A beautiful young woman looked at the live broadcast on the screen and murmured in pain. Then she suddenly stood up and rushed into her study room. The man and child in the living room, who were also watching the live broadcast, were somewhat surprised. Inside the study room, the young woman quickly turned on the computer and entered her mailbox. She opened the latest email. The email was accompanied by a video. The young woman bit her lips and lightly clicked the mouse with trembling hands. The video opened and an image appeared. On the image was a bald thunder god in white. Shaolei. Thunder God didn't have the mischievous smile of the past. Instead, his smile was gentle. You and I haven't seen each other for almost 16 years. Do you still remember the first time I brought you to the amusement park, the first time I taught you martial arts, the first time I scolded you, the first time I hit you? Thunder God shook his head and smiled. I know you hate me, but if I had to choose again, I would still choose to kill that bastard. I also know you won't forgive me. Back then when your mother left you to me, I promised that I would let you be happy for the rest of your life. I didn't let you suffer the slightest bit. I didn't think it would turn out like this. Let's not talk about it anymore. In a while, I will go out with your Uncle Hong. This time, I'm afraid it will be very difficult for me to come back alive. So after thinking about it, I still sent you this email. Thunder God rubbed his bald head. Shaolei, don't worry. Your father will definitely kill that swallowing monster. I told you before, I won't let you suffer. This is my promise to your mother and also to you. Forever love, Dad. In the video, Thunder God smiled. The video ended. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. The young woman immediately laid on the desk and cried. She couldn't stop crying. Only when you lose something do you know pain. Dad, 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 come back, come back. I was wrong, I was wrong. The young woman kept crying until her voice was hoarse. Scenes of the past flashed through her mind. Her mother had died very early, and she had been brought up by Thunder God. Thunder God had doted on her very much, and he had spoiled her very much. However, when she was 16, Thunder God killed her boyfriend because of her first love. Lei Lei, who had been spoiled since she was a child, was incomparably furious. She ran away from home and even left behind some harsh words. At this moment, she suddenly realized how much her father loved her. On the outer walls of the capital's citadel, Jia Yi was checking on the injured. Don't move, lie down and rest well. Jia Yi hurriedly said. Yes, Chief. The disabled and bandaged young soldier immediately shouted. Jia Yi straightened his body. Chief. A guard ran over. What is it? Jia Yi asked. The guard lowered his voice. Chief, Lu Ning sacrificed himself. Lu Ning was the youngest of Jia Yi's personal disciples, just 19 years old this year. Jia Yi was very fond of this little disciple. And when the war came, Jia Yi's disciples were all sent to the battlefield. Oh! Jia Yi did not say anything else, but his facial muscles twitched a little. Little Ning. Jia Yi murmured in his heart as he looked around the entire camp. Many of the injured soldiers were holding on to their phones, either looking at pictures or letters. They are all very young. Jia Yi's heart was filled with sorrow, but he was helpless. Hong and Thunder God's failure caused the upper echelons of Earth to be extremely pained, and they also knew from Luo Feng that relying on the liquid silver guards was impossible to kill the swallowing monster. It was even more painful. However, the upper echelons were in despair, but not in the live broadcast. Right now the entire world was still broadcasting, but they were replaying the battle from before, and they were saying that Hong and Thunder God were only heavily injured, not dead. They also said that the two silver giants were the newest technological giants of Earth. Humanity still had hope. This filled countless commoners with hope. Countless soldiers were fighting. Luo Feng had already returned home. In the living room, the television was turned on. These two silver giants are the newest technological giants developed by the various countries. Just like thousands of years ago, humanity will definitely win this war. The voice from the television made Luo Feng unable to hold it in any longer. He immediately left the living room and went up to the third-floor balcony. On the balcony, the cold wind blew. Luo Feng woke up a little. It's no use, Luo Feng, give up. Babata advised. Earth already has no hope. If the others die, then so be it. You won't be able to stop it. This isn't just the death of one or two people, it's countless people. Luo Feng couldn't help but raged. Can I watch as countless youths, even children and babies die just like that? Can I watch as Earth becomes a playground for the monsters? Humanity disappearing? There has to be a way, there has to be. The entire Earth becoming the monster's territory, just thinking about it was a nightmare. The soul is the foundation of life. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. That swallowing monster's life energy has suddenly become so much weaker than before. Does that mean its soul is much weaker than before? Babata, you tell me. Oh. Babata was hesitant. Speak. Luo Feng was a little angry. Right, it's weak. However, it's not something a Star Traveler Level 3 spirit reader like you can mess with. Babata said. Babata, you said before, it's very young. Indeed. Star Traveler and Star levels are unable to wander the universe. It's only a Star Level 1 now, that means it was born on Earth. For it to be so strong, if it was born early, it would have been discovered by humans long ago. Discovered so late, it should have been born not long ago. Luo Feng said, it's still very young, its soul should be relatively tender. And it's continuously been hit by the B6 grade laser cannon, Hong and Thunder God, these two consecutive heavy hit. Its strength is probably only 10 to 20% of what it used to be. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. If I use the UNMO planet's secret technique Tower of the Void and risk my life, the technique is already very strong, the moment I risk my life. If it's not enough, I can use the Six Lights technique, to get the other warriors of Earth to join me. Luo Feng's mind swiftly came up with a plan. The UNMO planet's secret techniques were very strong, and Babata had always wanted Luo Feng to study those techniques. As of now, even though he hadn't studied them too deeply, the more profound ones, Luo Feng's current strength was still unable to unleash them. He was now able to display his strongest attack power. Luo Feng, what nonsense are you thinking? Babata raged. I won't allow it, I definitely won't allow it, I've waited 50,000 years, waiting for a disciple like you. I definitely won't allow you to throw your life away. I'm not throwing my life away. Didn't Hong and Thunder God burn their souls and not die? Luo Feng asked. But they're in deep sleep. Babata raged. In the universe, even the undying warriors, once their souls are heavily damaged and fall into deep sleep, some sleep for millions of years before they recover. However, there were some who would remain in a deep slumber forever. Hong and Thunder God are not dead, but they've truly fallen into deep sleep. Their souls aren't strong. If they can wake up, they'll wake up in 1 or 2 years, otherwise they'll never wake up, until they die in their sleep. Luo Feng, don't you dare mess around. Babata raged. I'm Luo Feng first, then the UNMO planet disciple. Luo Feng's thoughts said. You want to throw your life away? Babata raged. Babata. Luo Feng looked around. You think I want to die? I don't want to die. How I want to see my child be born, how I want to hear my child call me daddy. I want to live. Even in my dreams, I want to live. But you. Babata hesitated. Babata, right now I have 2 choices. First, I was a turtle hiding in its shell. I watched as countless of my comrades were killed. I watched as countless innocent children cried for their parents to be killed. I watched as babies who were still drinking milk were killed. I watched as they were killed. I brought my family and children into the UNMO planet ship and became a turtle hiding in its shell. After that, my children are born, they live without sunlight, without friends, they can only listen to my stories, know that there were many, many children like them on Earth, only they've all died. And Babata, you said before, only the Star Traveler level has the ability to roam the universe and live comfortably. And before reaching the Star Traveler level, my children and wife, entering other planets in the universe, is extremely dangerous. Luo Feng said. Babata agreed. Indeed so. The universe wasn't peaceful. Battles existed on every planet. A star traveler bringing normal people in the universe, that would be a disaster. I have to reach the star level, only then can my family have a good life in the universe, a stable life. And for me to reach the star level, how long? Tens of years? My children have to live in the ship for tens of years? Luo Feng shook his head. That's simply a nightmare, separated from society and living in the ship for tens of years. I'd rather die than let my children live such a life. The second choice. I, Luo Feng, with the 6 lights technique, made 5-star traveler level warriors sacrifice their souls, form a formation, ignite their souls. After that, I'll unleash the Tower of the Void's final trump card. These 2 moves are both UNMO Planet's secret techniques, and they also ignite their souls, killing a space beast that only has 10 to 20% of its strength left. There's hope. There are a few results. 1. Success, I don't die, countless people have hope, that's the best. 2. Success, I'm dead. However, my children can live a good life, they can go to kindergarten, they can have playmates, and my parents, Suxian and the others to take care of them etc., they just don't have me as their father. In the future, they'll learn about their father in the history books, I believe, they'll be proud of me. 3. Failure, of course I'll die too. That swallowing beast's injuries will definitely worsen, giving humanity hope of killing it. Luo Feng's expression was calm. Babata, which path do you think I should choose? Babata wanted to speak, but didn't know how to persuade him. Babata, really? Actually, ever since I became a fighter at 18, I've never been afraid of death. On the contrary, I'm more afraid my children will spend tens of years in the ship. I'm more afraid, Hong, Thunder God and countless others sacrifice, it won't be worth it. Death, there's nothing to be afraid of. Humans, life, death, illness, it's a cycle. I want to do it for my friends, Wei Wen and the others. I want to do it for my fellow people. I want to do it for the countless pregnant women, the unborn children just like me. For them, I'll risk it all. It's also for myself. Luo Feng laughed loudly. You have to know, Hong and Thunder God are risking it all, they're the 2 strongest fighters on Earth. But me, I'm also the strongest spirit reader on Earth. How can I retreat? Ha! Luo Feng's laughter made Babata silent. How long has it been Babata didn't have such complicated emotions anymore? This was the first time. Babata felt a sense of respect towards this person he had always believed to be average, a person he had no choice but to choose as his successor. All right, I'll help you, Babata said solemnly. Haha, don't be like that, I've already said, if you risk it all, there's still a chance of survival. Luo Feng at this time, his soul was clear and bright. P.S. 3 chapters completed. Pull down the monthly votes. I've suddenly realized, pulling down the monthly votes doesn't work at all. The monthly votes are growing very slowly, I don't know what's going on. Everyone support Tomato, give him a monthly vote, Tomato will be full of motivation. Chapter 259. Right now it's China time 1412, from the time Hong and Thunder God battled the golden horned beast, an hour has passed. Babata's voice was serious. This time the golden horned beast's life energy is so weak, it's obviously heavily injured. It's definitely not something that can be healed in a day or 2. However, you can't waste time, the earlier you act the better. After deciding to help Luo Feng, Babata gave his all to come up with a plan for Luo Feng. First, find 5 star travelers to sacrifice. You use the 6 blades technique, completely absorb the souls of the other 5, assimilate them into the Tower of the Void, and use the Tower of the Void technique. Choose 5 people, these 5 have to be star traveler level. The stronger the better, the stronger the life force, then, the stronger the soul combustion energy will be. Luo Feng stood on the balcony, looking at the surrounding skyscrapers, the distant streets with the army convoy. He said, Babata, send my thoughts to all star traveler level fighters. Those who are willing to join, willing to sacrifice themselves, get them to reply to me. Luo Feng's voice was low but firm. All right. Under Babata's control, all the Star Traveler level fighters on Earth received the news at the same time. Luo Feng, how many do you think are willing to sacrifice themselves? Babata couldn't help but ask. They are all Star Traveler level fighters, spirit readers. Even if the headquarters city is breached and humanity escapes, their chances of survival are still the highest. I don't know. Luo Feng shook his head. The Six Blades technique was a very special technique from the Yun-Mo planet. Within it was an ultimate technique that made others sacrifice their souls. This technique actually allowed one to control one's own slaves to sacrifice themselves. The so-called sacrifice had to be voluntary, without resistance. The moment they resisted, they would fail. Hence, Luo Feng couldn't force others to sacrifice themselves by burning their souls. Luo Feng's tactical communications watch emitted a sound. Got it. Luo Feng opened it. There were only a few words on it. Allure, am willing to go. After Luo Feng looked, he was shocked. The first to agree was actually one of Head Hong's 3 personal guards. Allure. The tactical communications watch rang twice. Another 2? Luo Feng was just about to flip through to see who it was. The sound was almost continuous. The voice was very soft, but the continuous sounds made Luo Feng's heart tremble. How crazy! Babata couldn't help but say in a low voice. 3 minutes and 16 seconds. The tactical communications watch had been beeping for a long time, but after 3 minutes and 16 seconds, there was no reply. Luo Feng, we've already received 81 letters, 62 of them are willing to go, and the others are all asking, are you confident? What are the chances of killing the devourer beast? Babata quickly calculated. Luo Feng nodded. Luo Feng, you decide which 5 to choose. Babata said. Whoever he chose would be the sacrifice. According to the strength of the soul, whoever helps you will be chosen. Babata, choose these 5. Luo Feng said seriously. All right. Babata said, I've chosen them. The 5 are M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia Yi and Sokolov. These 5 people were from the United States, the European Union, India, China, and Russia. However, your Palace of War Gods' 5th chairman actually didn't reply. I can't force anyone. Luo Feng muttered the names of these 5. M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia Yi, Sokolov. M.O. Henderson, the one known as the Ice Emperor, extremely domineering man, America's superhero in reality. Eastbourne, Luo Feng's previous world's #1 spirit reader, now surpassed by Luo Feng. Tripathi Singh, India's #1 warrior, known as the Lion King. Sokolov, Russia's #1 warrior, known as the Lion King. Jia Yi, China has always been dedicated to the country, a warrior from the Grand Nirvana period. 5. Luo Feng understood. As long as the 6 flags technique was activated, these 5 would have to be sacrificed. Even knowing the sacrifice, they still replied. Notify the 5, give them 15 minutes to say goodbye to their families. After that, immediately rush to the Pacific Ocean with the fastest speed. Luo Feng said seriously. All right. Babata immediately sent out the 5 notifications. Russia. A tall and sturdy man with red eyes, a very scary-looking man, stood in front of a house. The door was shut tight. Yi Lina. The tall and sturdy man's voice was deep, resounding within the house. This is the last time I'll come to see you. Him. Sokolov, the synonym for ferocious and powerful, Russia's #1 warrior, never married, loved wine, loved women. Nobody in Russia dared to mess with him. However, not many people knew. He actually had a daughter. This daughter was actually the product of one of his drunken encounters. I'm heading to the Pacific Ocean to deal with that swallowing monster. Yi Lina, take good care of yourself. Sokolov roared again. He stared at the door of the house, his heart-palpitating eyes filled with anticipation and desire. However, the door and window were still shut. Sokolov suddenly turned his head. He took large strides towards a disc-shaped autojet not too far away. Very quickly, the disc-shaped autojet's voice resounded. It began to take off. Ka. The door of the house finally opened. A lady wearing an apron looked carefully, only to see a small disc in the distant sky. Very quickly, the disc-shaped autojet disappeared into the horizon. Looking at the huge footprint on the ground, the lady couldn't help but cry. The ferocious polar bear Sokolov bid farewell to his daughter. The Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson bid farewell to his wife and son, as well as his newborn grandson. The Lion King, Tripathi Singh, also bade farewell to his 3 wives and a group of children. Eastbourne locked himself in his room, alone for 5 minutes, before leaving in his fighter jet. Jia-E only gave a call to his family and left in a fighter jet. Luo Feng's living room. Get up, Feng, get up. Luo Honghua and Gong Xianlan's eyes were filled with tears as they pulled the kneeling Luo Feng up. Luo Hua, take good care of Mom and Dad. Luo Feng looked at his brother. Okay. Luo Hua's eyes were red, nodding. Luo Feng nodded, turning to look at Su Xian, who was already full of tears. Luo Feng extended his hand to hold Su Xian's hand, softly saying, I'm sorry. Don't say it. Su Xian shook her head. I owe you a wedding. Luo Feng waved his left hand, and suddenly, one of the steel wires on the mosquito net on the balcony flew out. As it flew out, it was cut in half. These 2 short steel wires automatically circled around each other and formed a circle. Right now, I don't have time to buy a ring. Luo Feng held the 2 steel wire rings. Under the witness of your parents, Su Xian, are you willing to marry me? Luo Feng said softly. Okay. Su Xian just nodded, her tears unstoppable. Luo Feng gently put the steel wire ring on Su Xian's ring finger. Su Xian also put the ring on Luo Feng. I'm sorry, I've let you down, and I've let down my 2 unborn children. Luo Feng looked at Su Xian, lowering his head to kiss her. Su Xian closed her eyes, their lips parted. When Su Xian opened her eyes, all she saw was Luo Feng's back leaving the living room. Little Feng. Luo Feng. A group of people ran out, looking up from the courtyard. The youth standing on the soaring shuttle became a beam of light, disappearing into the eastern sky. Luo Feng stood on the soaring shuttle, flying in mid-air. Looking down, the distant Yangzhou city was almost invisible, and right below was a ruined city, covered in dust, filled with monsters. This was a city from before the Grand Nirvana period, but now it was the home of the monsters. I'm Luo Feng, M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia-E, Sokolov. Tell me your current location and the speed of the fighter jet. I'll confirm the gathering point. Luo Feng contacted the 5 at once. I am M.O. Henderson, my fighter's speed is 3,800 meters per second. I am Jia-E. The 5 consecutively told Luo Feng their location and speed. And Babata swiftly calculated the best gathering point. Luo Feng, the gathering point has been calculated. You only need 1 hour and 8 minutes to reach the gathering point. The gathering point is only 351 kilometers away from the Golden Horned Beast. Good. Luo Feng immediately informed the other 5 of the gathering point's location. It was still afternoon in China, but the closer they got to the gathering point, the darker the sky got. The gathering point. When Luo Feng reached the gathering point, a black disc-shaped fighter jet was already floating in mid-air, and a South Asian man with curly hair flew out. Luo Feng, how are you? The man extended his hand. Tripathi Singh, how are you? Luo Feng extended his hand too. The 2 shook hands. Not long after, M.O. Henderson also arrived from the United States. The 4th to arrive was Jia-E. The 5th to arrive was Sokolov, the 6th was Eastbourne. I've already said the key points. Do you all understand? Luo Feng looked at the 5. Understood. M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia-E and Sokolov all nodded seriously. Good, then let's set off, enter the sea, to where the swallowing monster is. Luo Feng said. So, 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 so. 6 people, 6 beams of light. At the same time, they flew more than 300 kilometers away. At this time, every place in the world was broadcasting this scene. Luo Hongguo, Gong Xin Lan, Su Xin and the others couldn't help but cry in front of the television, and the elites of the countries were clear. This was probably humanity's last chance. America's #1 warrior Mo Henderson, Europe's #1 warrior Eastbourne, India's #1 warrior Tripathi Singh, Russia's #1 warrior Sokolov, China's eternal hero Jian, Earth's #1 spirit reader, the youngest absolute genius Luo Feng. Let us always remember their names. The voice on the screen was low, and on the screen, the 6 peerless experts flew in the air and quickly dove into the boundless sea at the same time. P.S. Chapter 1. Chapter 260. In the deep ocean, Luo Feng and the other 5 swiftly dove downward. Luo Feng had the cloud contact armor, and the other 5 had black god set. With their own bodies, they could easily dive into the deep ocean. Luo Feng, that swallowing monster, is 1200 m below the ocean floor. If we get too close, will we wake it up? Interrupt the process of your technique? India's Tripathi Singh couldn't help but ask. The other 4 looked at Luo Feng. This time, Luo Feng was the leader. After all, they didn't know what the technique was. Don't worry. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Beside him, a liquid silver guard dressed in a black battle uniform appeared. The other 5 looked at the sudden appearance of the liquid silver guard in shock. Looking at the liquid silver guard's face, they could tell that it wasn't a real person, but a special robot that had appeared when they rescued Hong and Thunder God. This is my reward from the archaeological ruins, Luo Feng said, landing on the ocean floor. The other 5 followed. Inform an auto-jet to come here, Luo Feng said seriously. Why? The other 5 were shocked. The auto-jet could indeed be used in the air, sea, and land. But why did it have to enter the ocean floor? After I use the technique, you will all die. I'll let the auto-jet take your bodies away. As for me, I'll immediately battle the swallowing monster, Luo Feng said. The other 5 nodded. They understood the process of the battle. Their purpose was to sacrifice, allowing Luo Feng to become incredibly strong in a short period of time. And Luo Feng could very well die without a complete corpse. The auto-jet in the air swiftly dove into the ocean floor, quickly arriving. Sit down and close your eyes. Remember, don't resist, Luo Feng said seriously. Understood. Mo Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia Yi and Sokolov looked at each other. A peculiar smile appeared on their faces. The smile had a charm that could shake one's soul. The 5 of them sat cross-legged. The 5 of them, including Luo Feng, made a total of 6. They were exactly the 6 points needed to form the sacrificial secret technique of the hexagram. Let's begin. Luo Feng closed his eyes. There were a total of 3 miniature planets in his sea of consciousness. The one in the center was obtained when he reached the planetary state level 1. The other 2 were produced when he reached the planetary state level 2 and 3. The other 2 planets revolved around the central planet, just like the Earth revolves around the Sun. The one in the center was the largest. The 3 miniature planets were all blood red. The 3 planets all emitted traces of red mist, diffusing into the huge object that almost filled the entire sea of consciousness, the Void Tower. A blood-red pagoda, the space within was vast like the universe. Luo Feng's 3 miniature planets were within. Xiao, 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 Xiao. 5 blood-red threads flew out from the Void Tower and left Luo Feng's body. However, the strange thing was that in the material world outside, the spirit energy threads were completely transparent. 5 threads of psychic energy directly entered Mo Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia Yi and Sokolov's consciousness. Hong! 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 The souls of the 5 people instantly ignited. At the bottom of the sea, 6 people sat cross-legged. Among the 5 of them, as their souls were ignited, formless vibrations appeared around their bodies. Large amounts of spiritual energy under Luo Feng's exquisite control began to flow along the 6-light array, all the way to the center of the array, Luo Feng, entering Luo Feng's consciousness and the Void Tower. The 5 people's life energy was constantly weakening. Luo Feng's life energy was constantly strengthening. And the 5 people who sacrificed themselves all had smiles on their faces. Paris, headquarters city of the European Union, on the huge screen hanging beside the street. The 6 people at the bottom of the sea have stopped moving. The one with the strongest life energy in the center is Luo Feng. On the left, the one with the second strongest life energy is Eastbourne. The broadcast's voice resounded throughout the street. There were many men and women from the European Union gathered on the streets, all quietly watching. Life energy is weakening. M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia E. Sokolov's life energy is constantly weakening. Luo Feng's life energy is constantly strengthening. On the screen, the images representing the 6 people, 5 of them were becoming blurry. Luo Feng's image was becoming clearer and clearer. Suddenly, the 5 people's images had completely vanished. Obviously, the life energy detectors were no longer able to pick up any life energy. Oh, God! Countless people on the streets couldn't help but cover their faces. They knew that the disappearance of life energy meant death. This is M.O. Henderson's battleship. It's already out to sea. According to what we know, there are 5 corpses in it. It's M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia E. and Sokolov. These 5 heroes. They sacrificed themselves for us humans. Please remember them forever. Luo Feng. Luo Feng is swiftly approaching the swallowing monster. The voices immediately became tense. On the screen, the energy representing Luo Feng's life energy was swiftly descending, nearing another incomparably huge energy of the swallowing monster. Let us pray. Let us pray that Luo Feng can win. On the streets, everyone clasped their hands in front of their chests, watching the screen. At this time, countless people on Earth were praying, hoping for victory to come. Below the seabed, in the rock layer, Luo Feng was swiftly descending. 800 m, 600 m, 400 m, 300 m. Babata constantly informed Luo Feng of the distance to the swallowing monster. 200 m. Luo Feng fiercely stopped. The surrounding rocks were pushed apart. Golden horned beast, go and die. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed fiercely. Within his consciousness, within the huge void pagoda, 2 miniature planets were revolving around the center planet. Suddenly, rumble, rumble, rumble. The 3 miniature planets immediately became fireballs. More accurately speaking, large amounts of blood-red mist violently rushed out from the miniature planets, entering the void pagoda. Having absorbed large amounts of spirit energy from the 5 warriors, the glaring void pagoda fiercely began to spin. Constantly spinning. This caused the entire void pagoda to become blurry. At the tip of the pagoda a glaring light appeared. All these years of hard work, it's all gone. Within the wrist AI space, Babata sat on his chair, slightly shaking his head. Hope I can be like Hong and Thunder God, preserve a bit of my foundation and fall into a deep sleep. At least I won't die. Luo Feng felt his entire being weakening. Go! Who? An invisible void pagoda, spinning like a sharp cone, immediately pierced through the 200 m distance, instantly entering the golden horned beast's body. Howl! An enraged roar resounded. Rumble, the surrounding rock layers violently exploded. Luo Feng immediately saw the enraged golden horned beast, its dark golden eyes staring angrily at him. However, with a shwa-shwa, 2 liquid silver guards blocked in front of Luo Feng. Its consciousness, it's actually not at its head. Luo Feng's expression changed. After the void pagoda entered the golden horned beast's head, it didn't find any soul at all. Luo Feng finally understood why destroying its head didn't kill it, because this golden horned beast was different from the human race, different from the beasts, etc. Its consciousness, its soul was actually not at its head. After which, the void pagoda swiftly descended from its neck, entering the golden horned beast's torso. Who? The void pagoda swept past. To the void pagoda formed from spirit energy, flesh and blood had no way of obstructing it. It's here. Within the golden horned beast's body, there was actually a transparent crystal ball emitting golden light, about 20 centimeters in diameter. The crystal ball had incomparably complex golden engravings on it. The golden engravings emitted rays of golden light. When Luo Feng's void pagoda swept past, he obviously felt a strong obstruction. The soul was within. Rumble. The revolving void pagoda fiercely smashed into the crystal ball. Howl! Howl! The golden horned beast roared angrily within the rock layers. Its scaled wings were incomparably sharp, like two huge blades. And its claws were even more swift and fierce. That tail was strangely swift and violent. At this time, they were all madly attacking Luo Feng's body. The two liquid silver guards desperately tried to block it. Not good. What a strong soul defense. Luo Feng's expression changed greatly. Luo Feng's expression suddenly turned savage, gritting his teeth. I'll risk it all. Rumble. 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 3 visible miniature planets immediately flew out of Luo Feng's consciousness. Rumble. Luo Feng's consciousness left its base, immediately beginning to collapse. No. Luo Feng, don't. Within the wrist AI space, Babata was shocked. Even though Hong and Thunder God were burning their souls, they didn't let their souls leave their bodies. Luo Feng was now basically abandoning his original body, completely merging his soul into the void pagoda. This way, it was equivalent to not leaving himself any way out. This way, his attacks were indeed at their strongest. However, even if Luo Feng succeeded, with his original body and consciousness collapsing, he had no way of turning back. Die, die, die. Luo Feng's consciousness emitted an incomparably firm conviction, incomparably crazy. His soul had completely merged into the void pagoda. The void pagoda was like a sharp awl, madly piercing the surface covered in large amounts of golden engravings, emitting a golden light and transparent crystal ball. And within the void pagoda, the 3 miniature planets were constantly burning and being consumed, their sizes getting smaller and smaller. Why isn't it breaking? Still not breaking. Luo Feng was extremely anxious. Howl, the golden horned beast painfully shook its head, fiercely smashing the rock beside it. The essence of the soul attack caused it incomparable pain. The worst part was that a few hours ago, its soul had just received a heavy blow. And this human's attack was no weaker than the last. Break, break, break. Luo Feng's consciousness was going crazy. He wasn't afraid of death, but he was afraid of failure. Within the void pagoda, the consumption of the 3 soul planets was getting smaller and smaller. Chi, 2 of the small planets had completely turned into nothing. All that was left was the soul planet in the center, and its size was only a third of its original size. This blood-red soul planet was constantly burning, large amounts of spirit energy replenishing the void pagoda. Burn, burn. Getting smaller and smaller. Luo Feng felt his consciousness getting hazy. He understood he was about to die. Kill it, kill it, kill it! Asterisk, 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 Jiangnan Headquarter City, Yangzhou City, Street. Old people with heads full of white hair, babies crying piteously. At this time, everyone on the streets stared nervously at the screen. Within the crowd was Wei Wen. He stared nervously at the screen. Luo Feng, my brother, you have to survive, survive. On the screen, the life energy that represented Luo Feng and the swallowing beast's life energy had already mixed together. Obviously they were in battle. Suffocation. The entire world was suffocating at this time. Rumble. The two mixed energies exploded fiercely, almost as though they had become much stronger. Almost like the explosion of a star's destruction. After which, swiftly weakening. The energy is weakening, it's quickly weakening. A voice finally resounded from the screen. I can't tell whose energy it is, the two have completely mixed together. It's still weakening. Wei Wen stared wide-eyed. Su Xian, Luo Honggua, Gong Xian Lan, Luo Hua and the others who were watching nervously were all incomparably nervous. The entire world was incomparably nervous. On the screen, the life energy that represented the life energy continued to weaken chi. It became nothingness. The life energy on the screen had completely vanished. Whether it was Luo Feng or the swallowing beast, they had completely vanished. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds dead? Luo Feng and the swallowing beast are both dead? The people of Earth had all seen the swallowing beast revive from the dead once. Hence they all watched nervously. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. The swallowing beast no longer had any life energy, neither did Luo Feng's. The entire world was silent. China time, 16:10 p.m. 3 human star traveler warriors dove deep into the ocean and discovered the swallowing beast's huge body. However, they had no way of destroying the scales of the swallowing beast. As the news spread, the entire world cheered. The swallowing beast is dead, it's really dead. Let's remember their names. Hong, Thunder God, M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia Yi, Sokolov and Luo Feng. It was them who saved the people of Earth, they gave us hope. Just like in the legends, Prometheus, who suffered for stealing fire, gave humanity fire, Nuwa, who was exhausted from mending the skies, gave humanity a place to live. And Hong, Thunder God, M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia Yi, Sokolov, Luo Feng. They, however, gave us hope of survival. Forever remember the names of these 8. The oldest is 89 years old, the youngest is only 22. 16:25 p.m. Large amounts of monsters gathered in the ocean, including many Emperor-level monsters. This caused the humans to immediately retreat, unable to enter the ocean. That night, all over the world, the sea monsters that were madly attacking the human headquarter cities swiftly retreated. When the sun rose again on the second day, Earth regained its peace. Humanity's history opened a new chapter. P.S. The second chapter has ended, continue writing the third. Chapter 261. Jiangnan Headquarter City, Yangzhou City, Times Square. The plaza was filled with flowers and wreaths. The swallowing monster disaster, this disaster, to humanity, was even more pressuring than the Great Nirvana period. However, with the sacrifice of the 8 strongest warriors of Earth, humanity managed to survive this disaster. Among them, Hong and Thunder God were in deep slumber, even though their heartbeats were still there, their brain waves had completely disappeared. They could be said to be living dead. The entire world's headquarter cities spontaneously organized activities to show their gratitude and respect to the 8 heroes. And Yangzhou City, as one of the 8 Luo Feng's hometown. In Yangzhou City's largest plaza, countless people were paying their respects. In this battle, Luo Feng was the youngest of the 8 and also the most overflowing with talent. At just 22 years old, he could easily kill the Grand Emperor. Such a genius, many believed that if he continued to grow, he would have a high chance of surpassing Hong and Thunder God. Many even said, Luo Feng could easily kill the Grand Emperor. He was already on par with Hong and Thunder God. However, there was no point in saying so much. Times Square, wreaths, fresh flowers were everywhere. Group after group of people came to bow. Luo Feng. In the crowd, an incomparably pained youth was accompanied by a young lady, looking at Luo Feng's statue. One. The young lady said softly. He and I have been playing together since we were young. I didn't expect him to die just like that. Wei Wen's expression was pained. Ever since he entered the dojo, he has always been the most outstanding. The earlier he became a high-level student, the earlier he became a fighter. And step by step, I watched him get stronger and stronger. I knew he would fly even higher. I didn't expect. Wei Wen shook his head. Wei Wen and his girlfriend bowed solemnly in the plaza, before leaving with the crowd. Mingyu District, Luo Feng's house's second floor, bedroom. The warm winter sun shone in through the French windows. Su Xian laid on the bed, her face pale. Little sister. Su Gang sat beside the bed, consoling her. Don't be too sad, Luo Feng's death was heavy, it was worth it. And you're so sad, and you're pregnant, it's not good for the child. Brother, Su Xian said softly, I know you can leave. Take care of your body, even if it's for Luo Feng, you have to help him give birth to the child. Su Gang comforted and walked out. Emotionally speaking, Luo Feng was one of Earth's 8 heroes. The Su family naturally hoped that Su Xian would give birth to his child. From a practical point of view, Luo Feng was Earth's #1 spirit reader. One could only imagine how good his genes were. These 2 kids had to be kept. Below Luo Feng's home. Doctor. Gong Xian Lan asked, How is my Su Xian? Mr. Hua, who is known as the best in China's medical world, personally treated Su Xian out of respect for Luo Feng. He said in a low voice, Madam Luo, the patient's body doesn't actually have any problems, it's just that he's too worried. No matter how strong his body is, if he's constantly immersed in sorrow, his body's condition will continue to deteriorate. This. Gong Xian Lan's expression changed slightly. Yesterday, when she saw Luo Feng's life force completely disappear, Su Xian actually fainted. Even though Luo Hongguo and his wife were in extreme pain, they didn't want anything to happen to their son's bloodline, so they immediately called a doctor. Right now, the only thing they can do for their son is to protect his bloodline. No matter what, Dr. Hua, you have to protect the child in her body. Gong Xian Lan said seriously. I understand. I will definitely do my best for Mr. Luo Feng's bloodline. Mr. Hua said seriously, I will immediately apply for a spirit of nature and some medicine to help her. We have a spirit of nature at home. Gong Xian Lan nodded. That's even better. Mr. Hua nodded happily and said, The spirit of nature and some medicine are just one aspect. This will help her recover physically. However, the root of the problem is still her heart. If she misses her too much and worries, I'm also worried that she might miscarry during her pregnancy. Gong Xian Lan's expression changed. So, you have to care for her emotionally and make her feel better. Mr. Hua said. I know. Gong Xian Lan nodded. On the bed. Su Xian silently laid on the bed and couldn't help but to gently stroke the steel wire ring on her ring finger. 2 streams of tears uncontrollably rolled down the corners of her eyes as she mumbled to herself. Luo Feng, you really went? Did you leave me? The Pacific Ocean, the area where Luo Feng fought the swallowing monster. Large amounts of monsters were gathered here. There were over 60 Emperor-level monsters, and amongst them was the only Emperor of the ocean, the Thunder Dragon Emperor. So many monsters were gathered at the bottom of the ocean, all for the swallowing monster's corpse. According to their evolution patterns, eating a powerful monster's corpse would normally cause them to evolve. The Thunder Dragon Emperor desired to eat the golden-horned beast's corpse. Howl, the Thunder Dragon Emperor stared angrily at the 2 people before it, liquid silver guards. It had already been here for over 3 days. However, it hadn't been able to get its way, all because of these 2 liquid silver guards. One had to know that the liquid silver guards were able to take on the golden-horned beast head-on. It was simply too easy for them to tie down the Thunder Dragon Emperor. Even though the liquid silver guards' attacks were extremely weak, on the contrary, their ability to tie down enemies was extremely strong. Behind the liquid silver guards, the huge black-as-ink golden-horned beast laid there, not showing any signs of life. within the golden horned beast's body. That crystal ball that was covered in large amounts of unique golden engravings was emitting a very weak golden light. It looked the same as before, but in reality it had undergone some changes. So, the possession is actually this hard. Babata, if this continues, just how long will it take for me to completely control this golden horned beast's body? Luo Feng's consciousness said. Don't rush, your current opportunity is something that only comes once in a trillion years. Be patient. Take it slowly. Babata said. Luo Feng didn't expect that he would survive. 3 days ago, when he was attacking the golden horned beast with all his might, Luo Feng realized that the golden horned beast's soul defense was extremely strong. Just as his last soul planet was about to burn out, the rhombus blood-red crystal at the core of the planet finally broke apart and burned. Immediately, an incomparably huge amount of spirit energy entered Luo Feng's soul. Extremely huge. This was also the reason why he realized that his life energy had suddenly grown stronger during the global broadcast. Luo Feng was very grateful. Grateful to his teacher, the master of the Yun Mo planet. Because back then, he didn't know how strong his successor would be. Star Traveler level? Star level? Hence, to be safe, the soul imprint he created back then could transform a Universe Level 1 Spirit Reader's soul. The soul imprint seemed very small, just a crystal pillar. But in reality, it was created by an undying being. When the crystal pillar broke apart and burned, that huge amount of energy instantly broke through the golden horned beast's defense. They weren't even on the same level. Maybe the golden horned beast had more in terms of quantity. However, the power of the soul imprint was too strong in terms of quality. A needle piercing a piece of tofu. Of course it was easy. The golden horned beast's soul was conquered, and Luo Feng's soul was replenished, becoming extremely strong in an instant. However, his body and consciousness were destroyed, unable to return. Hence, he immediately decided to use the possession technique, swallowing large amounts of the golden horned beast's soul. However, even though swallowing was fast, absorbing took more than a day. Also, like the space ring and cloud contact vine, they relied on the spirit imprint to recognize them. Babata's AI also relied on the spirit connection with Luo Feng. The soul was the foundation. A few treasures in the universe normally relied on the spirit imprint to recognize them. Hence, Luo Feng naturally connected with Babata during the possession. Luo Feng, right now you've occupied its consciousness. However, your soul's compatibility with its body is still very low, you'll have to take it slow. At the beginning of the possession, one can't even walk properly, that's normal. Come, try moving your eyelids slowly. Relax, I've already isolated the surrounding signals. Right now, the human world won't be able to detect the swallowing beast's life energy. Babata was extremely excited. My God! Possession of a space beast? That was simply a dream. In the universe, in terms of bloodline, the pinnacle of the space beasts were undoubtedly the noblest. The golden horned beast was one of the pinnacle. Babata, how do I recover a human body? Luo Feng asked. Damn, is there a need to care about a human body? Babata said, with this body, even if you become a sector lord, that's just a matter of time. Also, I've always heard that the space beasts all have inherited memories. The higher the level of the space beast, the more powerful the inherited memories. Knowledge is power. Your teacher has only lived for about 60 million years. How much knowledge has he accumulated? Even though his techniques are powerful in the vast universe, there are still others stronger than your teacher. And the space beasts, especially the pinnacle of space beasts, have generations of inherited memories. They can even trace back to the beginning of the universe. When you're 100% compatible with its body, the inherited memories will completely merge into your soul. Babata was extremely excited. Become a powerful golden horned beast? Dominate the universe? As for you to recover your human body, that's not too hard. The stupidest method is to steal again. The best method is to obtain the legendary Spirit Reader technique Spirit Division. You can create large amounts of clones. Naturally, you can also create a clone of your human body. However, the secret technique Spirit Division, even your teacher has only heard of it. Babata said, "Don't think about it, at least you're still alive." "Right." Luo Feng's spirit was roused. "At least I'm still alive. Alive, there's hope. There's hope to see his family, there's hope to see his child born." Luo Feng began to work even harder to control his body. Blink, move a claw, wagging his tail, gently flapping those scaled wings. Step by step, Luo Feng worked hard. After spending a total of 16 days. Success. At the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, a gigantic golden-horned beast that had once brought nightmares to all humans on Earth was swimming slowly. A pair of cold, dark golden eyes scanned its surroundings. The surrounding Emperor-tier beasts and beast emperors were so frightened that they knelt down respectfully. "Luo Feng, congratulations." Babata was very excited too. Just as it completely merged, just like his own body, suddenly, an incomparably huge amount of memories flowed into Luo Feng's soul. Incomparably vast, ancient, the memories passed down through generations of golden-horned beasts were displayed before Luo Feng. The vastness of the memories caused Luo Feng's consciousness to stop thinking. It was too huge. The fourth chapter, Nirvana of Life, was over, and the even more vast and mysterious fifth chapter of Swallowing the Star was about to begin. At the same time, Tomato also pulled up his monthly votes. For 5 consecutive days, he had completed 3 chapters a day. At the end of the month, at the moment of fulfilling the promise, at the moment of the end of the 4th chapter, Tomato wanted to say, "I want a monthly ticket." Chapter 262. In fact, at the end of every chapter, Tomato would take a day off to sort out the plot. Yes. Tomato was very excited now. Finally, Swallowing the Star had finally entered a new era. From the first chapter, One Night Awakening, to the 4th chapter, Nirvana of Life, these 4 chapters as a whole could be regarded as the beginning plot of Swallowing the Star. Many people used to ask why this book was called Swallowing the Star. I believe everyone understands now. The plot began to really unfold on a magnificent scale. The vast universe and countless mysterious races began to gradually arrive. The background was very big. Whether it was the cultivation system, the background system, the world structure system, etc., they were all very big. So Tomato did have to spend a lot of energy. The 5th chapter, Cosmic Adventurer, would be officially updated tomorrow. Believe it. I won't let you down. Well, Tomato also has a small request. Brothers, please throw your recommendation votes to Tomato every day. 5 or 6 would not be too much, and 1 would not be too little. Compared with the monthly votes that needed to be bought, everyone should have recommendation vote. Haha, I won't say much. Brothers, throw vote. Tomato will write a good novel for everyone to read. Swallowing the Star, haha, it will definitely make you feel good from head to toe. Chapter 263. In the dark seabed, countless sea creatures were scattered around. They all looked respectfully at the distant swallowing beast. The swallowing beast's dark golden eyes slowly closed, almost as though it had fallen asleep. However, under the formless pressure, this region was incomparably silent. Closing his huge eyes, Luo Feng felt himself completely drowning in the memories, the mysterious special techniques that were completely suited for the golden-horned beast to train in. It was extremely profound and vast. The pictures and texts of the memories flowed continuously, almost like a movie, schwa schwa schwa. Large amounts of knowledge flowed into his brain. Endless and endless. Luo Feng felt a slight headache. Obviously the speed at which the memories flowed had reached the limits of his soul. Just how much knowledge? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. This has been going on for over an hour. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. The memories flowed like an endless torrent of water, endlessly. All sorts of memories flashed past, completely merging into Luo Feng's soul. Luo Feng only had time to discern a few pictures of the golden-horned beast training etc. before he was completely drowned by the other memories. Half a day. 1 day. 2 days. 3 days. The golden-horned beast, this terrifying space beast, laid motionless on the seabed, almost as though it was in deep sleep. 16 days later. Deep in the seabed, on the muddy seabed, the pitch-black golden-horned beast laid there. Finally, its dark golden eyes opened, within them naturally filled with coldness, killing intent. That was deep within its bones. Phew, my God! Luo Feng finally felt a sense of relief. The inheritance memories flowed in for 16 days, completely reaching the limits of his soul. Under such pressure, Luo Feng didn't even have time to think. Just how much knowledge does this require? Luo Feng exclaimed. Luo Feng, Luo Feng. An excited voice resounded in his mind. Babata! Luo Feng shouted. You've completely received the inheritance memories? That's ridiculous. With your soul's current endurance, you can receive a lot of information every second. In these 16 days, just how much information did you receive? Babata was obviously very excited. Quickly take a look. What knowledge is there? What amazing techniques! Let me take a look first. Luo Feng was very curious too. Even though he had become the golden-horned beast, he had no idea about its abilities at all. Babata, we're in big trouble. Luo Feng had just checked his inherited memories, feeling helpless. What is it? Babata asked. Although this knowledge is in my mind, I have to learn it myself. How long will it take to learn this? The so-called inherited memories was a method of passing down knowledge. Knowledge was passed down from one generation to the next, but to truly grasp the knowledge, one still had to seriously study and comprehend it. It's not strange. Babata continued. The reason why this inherited memory is so huge is mainly because of some secret technique. A single secret technique might contain many, many words. It's just like Master's soul seal. If it were to be printed into a book, it would be very normal for it to be recorded in tens of millions of Chinese characters. Luo Feng, Babata said excitedly. Now, you can completely organize your inherited memories. You don't need to carefully look at the details of some of the secret technique. You just need to know the names and the general description. All of them were classified and summarized. It should be very fast. You are really something. In the universe, the experts of the various races are willing to spend countless wealth to buy some secret techniques and so on. You actually think that it's too much. It really makes me speechless. Luo Feng laughed. Let me organize a bit. According to the whole, the golden-horned beast's training knowledge, it could train in 18 special techniques and 3,199 normal techniques. There were introductions to the astral beasts and other astral beasts. There were introductions to the various human races, such as manipulators, illusionists, beast tamers, puppeteers, hunters, fighters. Among the flesh and blood creatures, other than humans and astral beasts, there were also the demon race, the insect race, and so on. There were extensive introductions to every race. Other than the flesh and blood races, there were also the metal races like the automaton race etc. There were also the rock races, the spirit body races, the plant races. At the same time, there were a few extremely rare races like the space beasts that had incomparably strong powers, yet were extremely rare. Just explaining the countless races and cultures of humanity, if one were to use Chinese characters, even 10 billion characters would not be enough. And the human race was only one of the pinnacle races in the vast universe. Another month and 3 days had passed. Luo Feng had finally organized his inherited memories. In the future, if he needed more knowledge, he could swiftly search through the vast inherited memories. As for learning, my God! No matter which golden-horned beast it was It was impossible to learn all of this knowledge in one go. Just the 18 techniques and 3,199 normal techniques alone, reading through all of them would take who knows how many years. Luo Feng, you've struck it rich, you've struck it rich. My God, you actually have so much memory and knowledge? From Luo Feng, Babata found out how many classifications were made. He was completely shocked. So the universe actually has so many races, there's even a rare race that can compare to the space beasts? It's indeed a space beast, powerful, powerful. Babata was extremely shocked. Even your teacher, with a lifespan of over 60 million years, the amount of knowledge he's collected is far from yours. There's no way to compare. Babata was still in shock. The space beast's inheritance from generation to generation, this kind of knowledge, even within the human race, I'm afraid only a country like the Ganwu Universe country's knowledge vault can compare to the space beast's inherited memories. It's too powerful. After Luo Feng had organized everything, he too was filled with respect. The nobility of the bloodline was many. The body's talent was one aspect, it was considered the hardware. This kind of knowledge was the software. Babata, within the space beasts, only the elite 12 bloodlines can carry so many memories. Luo Feng explained. 12 bloodlines. Babata was shocked. Within the space beasts, those that can grow up to the sector lord level, there's a total of 12 types of bloodlines. Back then you spoke of the flaming star beast, that was one of the 12. After Luo Feng organized everything, the basic knowledge was completely clear. The 12 bloodlines' inherited memories are the most abundant. And every generation can even add in their own memories. Luo Feng was very clear now, how the golden horned beast passed down its inheritance. The golden horned beast, if it wanted to leave behind descendants, one way was to use up almost all of its life force to condense into an egg and spit it out. The original golden horned beast would die within a few short years. After the egg hatches, a young golden horned beast would appear, starting a new cycle. Luo Feng, hurry and take a look. How long do you need to reach sector lord level? Babata said. Let me take a look. Luo Feng flipped through it. Within a few seconds he had roughly read through it. He couldn't help but be shocked. After the golden horned beast hatches, if it doesn't eat the eggshell, but normal metals, it would need 10 years to reach the star level 1. However, if it eats the eggshell, and large amounts of normal metals, 1 year would be enough. Luo Feng said. 1 year? This little punk that you've taken over is only 1 year old? Babata was speechless. Luo Feng was shocked too. The swallowing beast that caused the entire Earth to face its apocalypse was only a 1-year-old golden horned beast? Normal evolution speed, star level 1 to universe level 1, requires 100 years. Universe level 1 to domain lord level 1 requires 1,000 years. Domain lord level 1 to sector lord level 1 requires 10,000 years. Luo Feng said directly, this is the slowest speed. If we use some special methods we can even speed up the evolution speed. Using some special metals, it'll be beneficial to the internal world's growth, and its strength will increase even faster. Meat pies falling from the sky. Babata couldn't help but say, your teacher prepared so much, his training plans were all the best, you too would need at least 100,000 years to have a chance of becoming a sector lord. If not for your teacher's detailed plans, countless wealth and treasures to nurture. Reaching the universe level in your entire life would be good enough. However, now, a normal evolution speed, 10,000 years is enough? Babata didn't understand the golden horned beast in the past, but now he finally had first-hand knowledge. Not that long. That's the slowest speed. Luo Feng said, if we have countless wealth to spend, speeding up the internal world's growth, the time can be sped up by a few times, or even more. However, the 18 special techniques, 3,199 normal techniques, I don't know which ones to learn. Luo Feng said, These techniques are all passed down from generation to generation of golden horned beasts. Only golden horned beasts can learn them. According to the important reminders from the inherited memories, don't bite off more than you can chew. Remind me, I can learn at most 2 special techniques, and not more than 6 normal techniques. Any more and I won't have enough energy to learn. The less the better. Oh, Babata said, first tell me about the 18 special techniques and 3,199 normal techniques, their effects and training requirements, etc. Tell me, I'll filter them for you, see if I can find the best combination. In terms of filtering ability, Luo Feng obviously couldn't compare to Babata. Alright. Luo Feng began to tell Babata about the various techniques' effects and training requirements. As for the techniques themselves, that was too much. Luo Feng relied on his thoughts to transmit them. Even a few years wouldn't be enough. 8 hours later, 18 special secret techniques and 3,199 ordinary secret techniques were all transmitted to Babata. Babata began to use its AI to quickly filter and match the technique. Luo Feng, this golden horned beast, should have its own special techniques, right? I've seen its speed explode before. Babata said, tell me about the special techniques too, I'll make the best combination. Natural techniques? Wait a moment. Luo Feng knew from his memories, the golden horned beast had a total of 3 special techniques. As for the detailed information, as long as his soul entered the internal world, he would naturally understand. The so-called special techniques, there was no need to learn them, they could be used naturally. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 264. When Luo Feng was at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, receiving and organizing the huge inherited memories, human society on Earth was undergoing a series of changes. During the swallowing monster incident, even the golden horned beast was killed, causing the Thunder Dragon Emperor and the other monsters to be extremely terrified, forcing them to retreat. After the golden horned beast awakened, it didn't order them to attack human society, so the Thunder Dragon Emperor and the countless sea monsters naturally didn't attack. Their intelligence was extremely high. Even the powerful swallowing monster almost died. Who would dare to go? Fundamentally speaking, the various countries did not suffer much in this battle. It was just that 8 heroes had fallen. Hong, Thunder God, M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia Yi Sokolov and Luo Feng, these 8 people were considered the top 8 of human society. When the 6 died, Hong and Thunder God fell into a deep sleep, not even their brain waves could be detected. The Dojo of Limits and the Thunder Dojo, these 2 huge powers, who wouldn't be envious? These 2 powers were even stronger than the 5 great countries. Hong and Thunder God were there, of course they could control the situation. But now, immediately, the undercurrents began to surge. Hong Ning Headquarters City. In the headquarters of the huge spaceship, 3 personal guards and 5 investigators gathered. Now that the virtual space has collapsed, all the Star Traveler fighters and war gods have formed their own groups. Without the 2 heads from before, the loose organization of the Palace of War Gods has already collapsed. What do we do next? The white-robed black man said anxiously. All the war gods have a consciousness sensor helmet. Allure wearing a mask said anxiously. They subconsciously still want to enter the Palace of War Gods. However, now that the head is unconscious, the AI will automatically close the virtual space. No one can enter the Palace of War Gods. The most important thing now is to immediately build the virtual space. Just like, if Luo Feng died, Babata wouldn't be able to serve humanity with all his heart. The same logic, with Hong in a deep sleep, no one knew if he was dead or alive. The AI that only listened to Hong's orders wouldn't waste energy to maintain the existence of the Palace of War Gods. The Palace of War Gods, the connection between the Star Traveler fighters and war gods, was broken. The situation of the world became even more chaotic. In terms of strength, these 8 people from the Dojo of Limits, there were still a few people stronger than them. It would be very difficult for the 8 of them to completely control the dojo of limits and make it as powerful as it was before. What he was most afraid of was, if the 8 of them were not united, it would be even more troublesome. Yangzhou City, Mingyue Sector, Luo Feng's first-floor guest room. Luo Hua was sitting opposite a golden-haired man. Mr. Luo Hua. The golden-haired man sighed, "Your brother and I are good friends. It's really a pity, but to be honest, I respect him very much." He believed that there were countless people in every country who respected and remembered him. However, the threat of humanity has yet to disappear. We don't know when the sea monsters will come again. Luo Hua nodded slightly. Therefore, the effective use of resources is very important. The blond man looked at Luo Hua. "I hope I can buy some items from Mr. Luo Hua." "Oh, what do you want to buy?" Luo Hua was still smiling. As the CEO of an investment company, Luo Hua was much more mature than before. "Muya crystals, silver men, etc." The blond man emphasized, "Our HR alliance will definitely pay a high price." Saying that, the blond man took out an illustrated book from his pocket. "These are the many special items that our HR alliance has. There are also many company shares, real estate and land, etc. These are definitely the lowest prices. Mr. Luo Hua, you can easily become the economic leader of a region." The blond man smiled. Luo Hua took the book and flipped through it. Indeed, the temptation was huge. Back then, when Luo Feng disregarded his life and death and headed to the Pacific Ocean with the other 5, he had already prepared an escape route for his family. Luo Hua only needed to take out a little, and he could easily control the economic lifeline of a region. This HR alliance was basically giving Luo Hua a lot of their foundations. 5 days ago, our country's leader came to my house. His conditions were quite generous. Luo Hua looked at the blond man. "Just before you came, I received a call from a mercenary organization." Luo Hua shook his head, however. "Representative Wei Nua, I'm telling you, we're not selling. Other than selling a little to our own country, we're not selling to any other organization." The blond man's face changed. He was a Star Traveler level fighter. Personally talking to Luo Hua was already giving him enough face. The main thing was that Luo Feng's influence was too great. If he dared to act forcefully, the entire world would probably curse him to death. After surviving this disaster, the people of Earth have completely deified the 8 heroes and raised them up high. To countries, dead people don't pose any threat. So what if they're raised up high? As for Hong and Thunder God, they were already high up in the first place. "Mr. Luo Hua, you have to calm down," said Wei Nua in a low voice. "Your brother's light can protect you, but the heat will eventually die down. No matter how much you fear public opinion, you're still a baby carrying a gold brick on the road. Eventually, you'll get robbed." "Thank you for your kindness." Luo Hua smiled. "Let me introduce you. Number 3. Whoosh. A black shadow suddenly appeared in the reception room, giving Senator Vino a fright. The thing that appeared in the reception room was a tall black metal robot. "This is a robot that my brother left at home to protect our family. We got it from archaeological ruin number 12. Luo Hua looked at Wei Nua. "Our Luo family doesn't need the so-called public opinion to protect us. We have our own power. I know that many people on Earth are ambitious, but our Luo family doesn't have the heart to get involved in that. Before my brother left, he told me," smiled Luo Hua, "if anyone dares to touch our Luo family, I'll destroy them." Representative Wei Nua's face slightly changed. "By the way, even my brother himself isn't its opponent," said Luo Hua. This was the truth. This metal robot was made of black yttrium metal. Luo Feng's hybrid copper essence shard couldn't harm it at all. There was once a robot that broke its internal control system after the golden-horned beast used its golden horn to ram into it. And on Earth, not a single human could do this. Which means If Hong, Luo Feng, and Thunder God were alive, they wouldn't be able to do anything against this invincible metal lump. Sending off a representative silhouette with his eyes, Luo Hua stood at the window, squinting. Humph, my brother has left. They're all like hungry wolves, eyeing the things my brother left behind. Right? He left behind a total of 60 Muya crystals. But did you think they'd get it? Humph, the situation is chaotic now. If anyone goes overboard, they'll have to find a chance to show their might. In a space far away from Earth, silent space, it had existed since time immemorial. Suddenly, space rippled like waves of water. At the same time, a flying saucer-shaped silver-gray spaceship appeared out of thin air. The wave-like spatial ripples disappeared, and the spaceship hovered in space. Captain, Captain, we've escaped, we've escaped. Haha, we've escaped. Haha. Within the ship, a few humans were shouting excitedly, speaking in the language of the countless human races in the universe. Within the ship's control room, the 8 crew members were extremely excited. Standing in front of the control panel was a middle-aged man dressed in a silver-gray uniform. He was about 1.9 tall and handsome. His ears were pointed and his eyes glowed red. He was the captain of the ship. Who would have thought there's actually a wormhole here? The captain revealed a sinister smile. Originally, the ship couldn't travel through the universe after running out of B-grade energy crystals. Trying to survive in the midst of death, we actually stumbled into a natural wormhole. Haha, who knows how many light years this wormhole would take. Unless those bastards also entered that region, they definitely won't be able to catch up to us. Atuka! The captain shouted. Captain! A child's head appeared on the control panel, calling out. Hurry up and mark that wormhole. Our star map doesn't have these coordinates. Obviously, the entire Black Dragon Mountain Empire doesn't know of this wormhole. The captain said excitedly. Then confirm our current position and immediately notify the family. Yes. The child's head on the screen shouted. Oh! Then he screamed, Captain, this is the Milky Way's void region. What? The captain was shocked. It's the void region. Through the universe, there's no way to confirm the coordinates. There's no way to enter the void region. AI system. The child shouted. Ha 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 ha, we're rich, we're rich. We're rich. The captain was extremely excited. Let's go, let's go. A very, very long time ago, this region was originally controlled by the Silver Blue Empire. However, ever since it was taken over by an unbelievable warrior, that warrior even entered the dark universe and hid the coordinates of this starfield. There was no way to reach this starfield. 30,000 years ago, it was said that the warrior had fallen. This void region was a power without a master. However, the Silver Blue Empire, even the high and mighty Black Dragon Mountain Empire, had no one who could find the coordinates to enter this starfield. Who would have thought he actually found a new wormhole and entered this starfield? Earth, the depths of the Pacific Ocean. I didn't expect the 3 natural abilities to be like this. I can go back, I can see Su Xian, I can see my future child. Luo Feng was extremely excited. How? At the bottom of the sea, the pitch-black golden-horned beast raised its head and let out a low roar. The roar was like a shockwave that spread out, affecting the surrounding sea creatures, causing many of them to immediately explode, blood floating in the sea. Luo Feng, according to your natural abilities, I've already confirmed your training path. Babata also said, you should practice the special secret method, a deity of the world, and the ordinary secret method, absolute space. These 2 secret methods will be very powerful when combined with your innate secret method. P.S. 2 chapters completed. The 5th chapter, Universe Adventurer, begins. Also poll for votes. Today, have you voted? Chapter 265. After Luo Feng found out about the 3 natural abilities and understood that he could return, he was in a good mood. Deities of the world and absolute space? Luo Feng immediately thought of what he saw before, the effects and training requirements of these two techniques. Absolute space was an extremely sick technique, the kind that would make people go crazy in the universe. It was just that only the golden horned beast could directly learn it. The technique had a total of 3 levels. The first level was called Arc of Light. The second level was called Myriad Changes. The third level was called Teleportation. To learn this technique, the most important requirements were crazy training and comprehension. Only after training many times can one gradually understand it, and only after accumulating enough can one comprehend it. This technique's main point was to instantly increase one's speed. According to the theory of the technique, even if you step into the universe level 1 stage, assuming you can fly at a maximum speed of 500 kilometers per second. However, that requires a long enough distance to continuously accelerate, only then can you reach that maximum speed. And that instantaneous burst of speed is far less than 500 kilometers per second during battle. The most important thing is instantaneous burst of speed. Instant forward, instant turn, instant stop, instant retreat. This theory Luo Feng understood too. Just like a sports car on the highway, maybe it can reach a maximum speed of 300 kilometers per hour, but starting for 0.1 seconds, how fast can it go? Accelerating to its maximum speed requires time. Humans can start faster than sports cars, but instantaneous burst of speed is still far less than maximum flying speed. Teleportation. Luo Feng, teleportation. Babata was very excited. Your teacher is an undying fighter, yet he can't teleport. That's why. Luo Feng said helplessly, this absolute space is very hard to train. Even a powerful fighter like the master of the Yun-Mo planet couldn't teleport. One could only imagine how hard it was. And the technique also said, the first level, with enough hard work, there's hope of training. The second level, passed down from generation to generation of golden horned beasts, even though the golden horned beast's lifespan is 10 times longer than a human sector lord's. However, those who train absolute space mostly hover around the second level. Those who can reach the second level myriad changes are few and far between. The third level, teleportation? That's practically a legend. Very, very difficult. Hard work, comprehension, opportunities, etc. all require it. Luo Feng, you don't understand how precious it is. Babata said anxiously. What kind of secret technique is this? Was it simply a matter of explosive speed? No. This was a secret technique that allowed you to comprehend and experience the laws of space in the universe. Your teacher doesn't have this secret art, so he has been working hard on it. If I have this secret skill, I'm afraid I'll be able to obtain the incredible ability of teleportation. Once you have the ability to teleport, it'll be hard for anyone to kill you. If your teacher knew this move, he wouldn't have died. Babata hastily said. Luo Feng laughed. I said it's hard to learn, but I didn't say it's impossible. Oh haha, Babata laughed heartily. Luo Feng, this technique doesn't just make your movements incomparably sick. Moreover, the flying speed would also be increased. Besides, once it's combined with a deity of the world, a deity of the world is even more insane than absolute space. He was indeed a freak. Luo Feng was very clear on the training requirements and effects of deities of the world. This set of secret techniques was one of the 18 special secret techniques in the inherited memories. In terms of value, usefulness, and efficiency, it was indeed stronger than the previous absolute space. However, the 18 special techniques, although they were called special techniques, didn't mean that all of them were stronger than the normal techniques. It just meant that the training requirements for these 18 special techniques were very harsh. How were they harsh? 1. They required complex training requirement. If some of the requirements weren't met, no matter how much hard work one put in, it wouldn't work. 2. There were shortcuts. but the requirements for shortcuts were as hard as ascending to the heavens. 3. Only the golden horned beast could train them. If the 3,199 normal techniques were created by the golden horned beast through generations, or by borrowing from the human race, automaton race, and countless other races' technique, the techniques themselves could only be trained by the golden horned beast, but these techniques were mostly borrowed from other races. The other races had similar techniques too, even though there were some differences. The differences weren't too big. However, these 18 special techniques were something that only the golden horned beast could train in. Even if they were to spread, the other races wouldn't be able to adapt or train them. Deities of the world was also split into 3 levels. The first level was considered a small success. The second level was considered a large success. As for the third level, that was the final level. To put it bluntly, Deities of the World was a special technique that allowed the golden horned beast to grow or shrink. Shrinking and enlarging were both terrifying abilities. For example, the golden horned beast was 180 m long. When it shrank, its weight wouldn't change, causing its density to increase greatly. Bone density increased. Muscle density increased. Their claws and horns became even sharper and harder. A punch with 100 kilograms of strength, compared to a needle with 100 kilograms of strength, the difference in power was like heaven and earth. Hence, the moment it shrank, the golden horned beast's claws would become even more terrifying, its horns' penetrative power even more shocking. Was it shrinking or growing? Growing wouldn't increase one's battle strength, but a 30 kilometers tall giant could casually take a step, and a normal human of the same strength wouldn't be able to outrun it. The advantage of growing was flying even faster. The 180 m long golden horned beast, after shrinking to 1800 m, was like a floating island. Its scaled wings were 10 times larger than before. Each time it flapped, its speed would be much faster. The first level of Deities of the World allowed one's body to grow and shrink by 3 times. The highest strength it could reach was 3 times. The second level allowed it to reach 9 times. The strength could increase by 9 times. The third level? It had already reached the stage where it could grow as it wished. Its strength could at most increase by 36 times. Shrinking by 36 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, the strength wouldn't change, because to be able to increase its strength by 36 times was already the limit of this technique. If it shrank any further, its body's strength would also shrink, causing its battle strength to be unable to increase. Of course, even though it was said to be able to grow as it wished, it couldn't be infinitely bigger or smaller. The legendary limit was 10,000 times, which meant that a 10 kilometers long golden horned beast could be as small as 1 m, as large as 100,000 kilometers. Of course, the difficulty of the third level of Deities of the World was even harder than the third level of absolute space. According to the inherited memories, only the creator of this technique, the golden horned beast, had reached the third level. As for the others, countless years and generations of golden horned beasts, none of them had been able to reach the third level. Throughout history, most of the golden horned beasts were at the first level. Even reaching the second level was very rare, because this technique was really sick, causing even the heavens to be jealous. For example, the Sector Lord Level 9 warriors that dominated the universe, their battle strength reached a limit. Most of them didn't have much of a difference, only a few were stronger. However, Deities of the World could cause the golden horned beast, from its original limit, to increase its strength by a few times. How could it not cause the heavens to be jealous? After all, the golden horned beast itself had a natural talent, the strengthening technique. Luo Feng, of your 3 natural talents, one is the training technique Devour, the second is the battle technique Strengthening, the third is the life-saving technique Clone. Babata said. Back then, when the golden horned beast was heavily injured by the B6 laser cannon, It activated the strengthening talent and its speed immediately exploded. The golden horn's attack power also exploded. Since it was a talent, the degree of strengthening wouldn't change. The strengthening talent, along with deities of the world shrinking, can cause your battle strength to double. The strengthening talent, along with deities of the world enlarging, can cause your flying speed to double. Babata exclaimed, and absolute space is your dodging and escaping technique. Also, absolute space starts out as a dodging technique, but later on it becomes a comprehension of the laws of space. As long as your comprehension deepens, your flying speed will increase even more. The trajectory and power of the golden horn's shots will also increase greatly. That's why the strengthening talent and these two great techniques can complement each other. In order to maximize the effect, Babata said. Sick. Babata couldn't help but to exclaim, too sick. Luo Feng laughed. It was indeed very sick. This also caused these two techniques to be very hard to train. Absolute space was still alright. Even though it was hard to train, most of the golden horned beasts in the past were able to enter the second level. But deities of the world was straightforward. So many golden horned beasts were stuck at the first level. However, Luo Feng was very clear. Too sick would cause the heavens to be jealous. That's why the golden horned beasts were extremely rare, even fewer than the undying beings. And in the universe, there were a total of 12 bloodlines of space beasts like the golden horned beast. And among the countless races, there were some special life forms with special techniques that wouldn't be any worse than the golden horned beast. Even humans, 1, had their numbers and 2, they had many techniques. Just Luo Feng's teacher, the master of the Yunmo planet, had the soul imprint technique, which was very sick. It could control powerful warriors to become his slaves. Your talent is good? Alright, I'll take advantage of your weakness and use the soul imprint to implant your soul, making you my loyal slave. No matter how high your talent is, you'll only be my fighter, my bodyguard. That's why Luo Feng was very clear that he couldn't underestimate any warrior. And the golden horned beast had 3 talents. One of them was the training talent, swallow. It could swallow large amounts of metal into its internal world. It had a certain area of effect. Even life forms weaker than itself could be swallowed and killed. However, if there was a threat, the internal world would automatically stop swallowing. For example, the large amount of metal Hong released, or a bundle of nuclear bombs. The battle talent, enhance, caused one's speed and battle strength to instantly rise. Of course, the price wasn't small. The life-saving talent, clone, allowed the Star Traveler level to have 1 clone, the Universe level could have a second, and the Sector Lord level could have a third. Which also meant the golden horned beast could only have 3 clones in its lifetime. And each clone existed alone, training by itself. To these extremely rare, almost extinct races, the universe was very fair, giving them life-saving talents. Like the ice mountain beast of the 12 bloodlines, its life-saving talent was transformation. It could change into any form. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 266. The natural life-saving technique, the clone, could be considered a second body, and not just a simple puppet. The clone needed to be nurtured within the internal world, just like a woman giving birth to a child, just like the legendary universe egg that gave birth to Pan-Gu. One theory, it needed to be nurtured within the internal world, gradually turning the clone into an embryo, step by step, until it was fully grown. The golden horned beast could have 3 more bodies in its life. Star Traveler level had 1, Universe level had the second, Sector Lord had the third. As the clone could also slowly train, there was no doubt that the first body to be nurtured was the most important. Hence, the chosen bloodline was of course important. For example, the first clone of the golden horned beast would usually choose a very good bloodline. As the requirements to nurture the embryo were very low, a strand of hair or a drop of blood etc. would do, as long as it contained the genetic material. Luo Feng, are you sure you want to use the first clone to nurture a human from Earth? Babata couldn't help but ask. You only need a strand of hair to nurture. In the future, you can definitely find humans with powerful bloodlines, like the Menka people, etc. It's very hard to possess, but finding a strand of their hair is very easy, changing their appearance to look like you, it's too easy. I'm sure. The first clone will be a human from Earth, Luo Feng said, and it will be nurtured using my own genetic material. Nurturing the clone was very demanding, because, in the future when the body is nurtured, if the appearance of the golden horned beast appeared, the other body would have to enter the internal world. And those not nurtured from the internal world would be killed the moment they entered. Unless they reached the sector lord level, the internal world would be completely like the outside world, only then would they be able to let living humans enter. Back then, the golden horned beast probably decided that the humans of Earth or the monsters of Earth weren't worth its 3 clones, hence it didn't nurture them. And Luo Feng immediately began. Within the golden horned beast's body, the transparent crystal ball, which had a diameter of more than 20 centimeters and was covered with countless mysterious golden patterns, emitted rays of golden light. This transparent crystal ball was known as the Origin Core, also known as the Starry Sky Origin Core, the World Origin Core, and the Soul Origin Core. This core was where the golden horned beast's core was. Even if its head was blown off, its body exploded. As long as the core and soul were fine, it wouldn't die. Within the core, it was as vast as the starry sky, and in its center, there was a dazzling sphere that looked like a star, slowly rotating. This was formed when Luo Feng absorbed his teacher's soul imprint and swallowed the golden horned beast's soul. This sphere that resembled a star was the soul core. This represented Luo Feng's spirit energy had reached the star level 1 stage. As for the golden horned beast's genetic energy, it was gathered on the golden horn on its forehead. The golden horn was the hardest part of the golden horned beast, and also the place where origin power was stored. Therefore, when it used its innate secret technique, its golden horn would be the first to light up. Internal world. When Luo Feng's soul was 100% in sync with his body, he too felt there seemed to be an invisible connection between the vast space inside the original core and another world. Within the inner world, this was an independent continent that was about 10 kilometers long and wide. The area 10 kilometers above the continent was filled with golden fog, and the continent itself was also golden. There were some hills and mountains on the continent, but they were all made of metal. This was a world of metal, the world Luo Feng controlled. Babata, release my body from before. Luo Feng used a thread of spirit energy to connect with Babata from the outside world, and using his swallowing talent, he immediately swallowed his own body. On one of the hills of the metal continent, a body appeared out of thin air. That was Luo Feng's body. As a Star Traveler Level 3 fighter, 1 to 2 months of time, his body had only stiffened and turned green and cold. As for the various items on his body, they had all been removed long ago. Cloud Contact Vine? As he couldn't enter the storage space, he had been guarding it from the outside. Talent Clone Nurture. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Rumble, the entire metal continent shook. Luo Feng's body seemed to be supported by a formless energy, floating in the air above the metal continent. This was one of only 3 chances the golden horned beast had in its entire life. The internal world could only be used a second time once it reached the universe level. Right now, Luo Feng had already unleashed the talent he could only use once, and began to nurture his clone. Qi, almost like he was vaporized. The floating Luo Feng's body immediately vaporized. Originally high above the metal continent, outside the continent, countless amounts of golden mist madly rushed towards the center, swiftly wrapping around Luo Feng's body after it vaporized. In an instant it became an oval-shaped golden egg. It's begun. After Luo Feng found out about his talent clone, he naturally knew some information. The amount of time required to nurture a body depended on his own strength and the genes of the body. The stronger the internal world, the faster the nurturing. And the lower the genes, the easier it was to nurture. And Luo Feng's current star level 1 internal world, the nurturing speed wasn't that fast. Some of the more powerful races with higher bloodlines might require hundreds or even thousands of years to nurture. Why did it take so long? Because nurturing a clone wasn't like giving birth to a baby. For example, the Sector Lord Golden Horned Beast, using a Sector Lord human's hair to nurture a body, that would be the body of a Sector Lord warrior. Genes completely duplicated, body completely duplicated, to train to the Sector Lord level, who knows how many tens of thousands of years. Nurturing for a few hundred years was already impressive. The prerequisite for nurturing was not being able to nurture someone stronger than himself. At most, it would be equivalent to his own strength. One day later. Looking at the progress, I should be able to nurture within 1 to 2 years. Luo Feng understood, when that time comes, he would have the exact same strength as before, his genes would be 99,999%, exactly the same. Only a very minute difference, this body was nurtured by the internal world, hence the genes would have very minute changes. However, even with DNA testing, one wouldn't be able to detect that tiny difference between the two bodies. In the universe space, a huge star was like a ball of fire, constantly emitting light and heat. A silver-gray universe ship swiftly flew past a meteorite with a diameter of about 5 kilometers. Within the ship, within a resting room, a handsome middle-aged man sat in a chair with his eyes closed. The quantum computer on his wrist was glowing faintly. Obviously, this captain's consciousness had already entered the virtual universe network. The virtual universe network was an extremely powerful existence. The universe was incomparably vast. And through the virtual universe network, even if they were separated by tens of millions of light years, they would still be able to meet and interact within the virtual universe. That was 100% virtual. Ding! The quantum computer's light dimmed. The handsome middle-aged man opened his eyes. Even though I've spent quite a bit of money, I've finally bought a map of the Milky Way galaxy from 1,000,000 years ago. The handsome man was extremely excited. Close to 1,000 light years, that's only a millionth of the Silver Blue Empire's territory. Luckily, there were 2 planets with life in this area. 2 planets with life? This time, we've really struck it rich. The closest planet is very close. With the ship's sublight speed, it would take 2 years and 8 months. The second planet, however, would take 136 years. The handsome man was slightly dissatisfied, even though his lifespan was over 10,000 years, spending over 100 years was already long enough. However, to be able to earn 2 planets with life, he would still be rich. 2 years and 8 months. Hopefully there will be some good goods to sell to the slave merchants for a huge sum. If there aren't any good goods, when the time comes, I might as well sell the entire planet. The handsome man thought about it, his eyes gleaming. A planet with life, that was very expensive. Time passed. The internal world was nurturing a new body. Luo Feng began to study absolute space and deities of the world, using his claws to swallow large amounts of metal. Actually, swallowing relied on the core, hence whether it was his claws, mouth or tail, they could all be used to unleash the swallowing talent. The only thing was that the golden horned beast liked to use its mouth. And Luo Feng felt that using his claws was enough. And that adventure ship, flying in the universe, continuously headed towards the star field where Earth was. On Earth. September 12, 2060. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jiangnan No. 1 hospital behind me is the hospital where Yang Zhou's pride Luo Feng's wife, Su Xian, is in labor. Rumor has it that Su Xian's labor room is the hospital's most luxurious special room. Just the booking fee alone is 2 million Chinese dollars. Every month's rent is as high as 12 million Chinese dollars, If you add in the medical staff and maternity care fees etc., I estimate that Su Xian's monthly expenses at the hospital will reach tens of millions of Chinese dollars. Rumor has it, Jiangnan No. 1 Hospital's director said that Luo Feng's wife will be given a 30% discount on her expenses at their hospital. Ladies and gentlemen in front of your televisions, our reporters have already arrived at Jiangnan No. 1 Hospital. Rumor has it that Su Xian's labor is very likely to be in the next few days. And according to our internal information, after asking the relevant doctors, we finally got some secret information. Rumor has it that Su Xian's pregnant is twins, the triplets before, that was just a rumor. September 15, 2060, 8:15 a.m. Su Xian was pushed into the delivery room. The number of media members outside Jiangnan No. 1 Hospital was even more shocking. Even reporters from other countries had rushed here. One has to know, back then, of the 8 heroes, only Luo Feng's wife Su Xian was pregnant, and Luo Feng had sacrificed himself. Now that his child was about to be born, it naturally caught the attention of the entire world. Countless netizens from all over the world, even regular old men and women, were all guessing Luo Feng was already a genius to such an extent. Then what about his child? What would happen in the future? Even though it wasn't born yet, Luo Feng's child had already become the center of attention. The golden horned beast, whose body had already reached 230 meters long, became a golden blur, swiftly flashing in the ocean. It was training absolute space. Luo Feng, Babata hurriedly shouted. What is it? Luo Feng stopped. His huge dark golden pupils had a hint of suspicion. Joyous news, extremely joyous news. Su Xian just gave birth to 2 children, both mother and child are safe. Your eldest son weighs 7 kilograms 6 taels, your second son weighs 6 kilograms 1 taels. Babata said excitedly. P.S. 2 chapters completed. November ended, December began. A new month, Tomatoes monthly votes. Monthly votes, Tomatoes' favorite. Oh, the recommendation votes are also his favorite, tied. Chapter 267. After becoming a swallowing beast, his strength rose quickly. However, after his soul and body were 100% compatible, Luo Feng's soul couldn't help but be affected by the bloodline of the swallowing beast that had been passed down from generation to generation. The brutality, savagery and coldness had affected him. Over half a year of living alone, the brutality within his bloodline had invaded. This made Luo Feng much colder and more brutal than before. However, the moment he heard the news, Luo Feng felt his blood boil from head to toe. I have a child, I have a child. That excitement filled his soul. Soon, there's still 8 more months. My body will be successfully nurtured. When that time comes, I can return to see them. Far away in the Pacific Ocean, Luo Feng, who had transformed into the golden horned beast, was extremely excited. And the various countries' media were all reporting on these 2 newly born children. Firstly, the Luo family had Luo Feng's inheritance. Their wealth was comparable to a country's. Secondly, the genes of these 2 children were definitely good, their futures were limitless. Thirdly, the sacrifice of 8 heroes, the birth of these 2 children, the meaning behind it was even more special. Year 2060, November 22nd, morning. Ping Ping and Little Hai be good. Su Xian, who was wearing a white sweater, lovingly kissed the 2 babies in her arms. The 2 babies looked at their mother with their small black eyes, giggling and stretching their little hands. Luo Honghua and Gong Xian Lan smiled as they received the 2 babies. Su Xian, will bring Ping Ping and Little Hai to walk around the district. Gong Xian Lan smiled. All right, Mom. Su Xian nodded. Watching as her parents left with the 2 babies, Su Xian gently closed the door and walked to the balcony of the bedroom. Beside the balcony was a study table, on it was a laptop. Su Xian sat on the chair, the warm winter sun shone on her body, it was very comfortable. Su Xian smiled, moving the chair to sit in front of the study table. She took out a pen and paper from the drawer. Since young, under the education of my family, I've always held myself to the highest standards. And finally I've fallen in love with leading a group of employees, starting my own business, fighting for the world. However, fighting for my own business is very tiring. Luckily, I have Luo Feng. When I'm by Luo Feng's side, I don't feel any pressure. He'll shield me from the wind and rain, allowing me to wholeheartedly start my business. I really enjoy these days, and I also want to continue like this forever. It's just, I didn't expect. I don't blame anyone. But really, I don't have any meaning in this world anymore. What is the point of living? Love? Family? Career? I don't know. Luo Feng isn't here. Love has already left me. Career? The bitterness of my career, I have no one to tell. The success of my career, no one to share with me. Without him by your side, even if you succeed in your career, it will pale in comparison. There will be no cheers. Whenever I dream of it in the middle of the night, I often cry. Finally, I made my decision. I feel very relaxed. My mind has never felt so empty before. Dad, Mom, big brother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, don't be sad, because I'm very happy right now. After she finished writing, she put down the pen and looked up. Through the window, she saw Luo Hongguo and his wife holding their 2 babies. The children were smiling happily. Little Hai Ping Ping. Su Xian said softly, "You're only 2 months old, you still don't know much. I'm sure that when you grow up, you won't have any memories of the present." Su Xian opened the laptop beside her and played a song. It was an old song from before the Grand Nirvana period. The second and minute hands ticked in my heart. My eyes twinkled, so empty. My heart thumped. I asked myself, how much do I love you? That mellow and empty voice, with a bit of shyness, echoed around the room. This was an old song from before the Grand Nirvana period. Fei Wong's I Want to Marry You Tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to marry you. Tomorrow I'm going to marry you. The music echoed around the room. Su Xian also softly hummed a tune as she walked to the wardrobe beside her and took out a wedding dress. Dress up for herself. Wear the wedding dress. Su Xian hummed a little as she smiled sweetly. She grew up in a competitive environment in a big family. Only when she met Luo Feng did she completely lose the pressure of competition. Luo Feng was like a tall mountain, a big tree, shielding her from the wind and rain. Su Xian didn't like her old home. That home was filled with worldly desires, money and competition. She liked the life she had with Luo Feng, doing what she liked and sharing it with the people she loved. Sharing bitterness with her lover. Sharing happiness with her lover. Such blissful days. And now, Luo Feng's departure made her feel like the world had turned black and white. There were no other colors. What's the point of fighting? What's the point of working hard? No one cheers for victory. No one talks about the pain. Dressed like a bride, wearing a wedding dress, Su Xian smiled as she quietly laid on the bed. Haunting all my dreams. Tomorrow I'm going to marry you. Tomorrow I'm finally going to marry you. The sweet music flowed into one's soul. Su Xian took out a small porcelain bottle from the side and poured out 2 pills. She smiled as she gently ate them. Then she drank some water and swallowed them. She closed her eyes. Su Xian, who was wearing a wedding dress, quietly laid on the bed. Her finger was still rubbing the ring on her ring finger, a steel wire ring. Tomorrow I'm going to marry you. Tomorrow I'm finally going to marry you. The music continued to reverberate. She wore the pendant that Luo Feng gave her on her neck. The engravings on the surface of the silver pendant faintly glowed. The glowing glowed and the silver pendant slowly floated up. At the same time, a dreamy white light shone down and enveloped Su Xian's body. Su Xian, who was wearing a white wedding dress, was enveloped in the white light like an angel. Suddenly, the silver pendant actually started to crack open. Immediately, the white light became even denser. Without a sound, the silver pendant completely turned into nothingness. The dense white light merged into Su Xian's body. Su Xian's skin became sparkling and translucent. It was even more lustrous than before. Beautiful. Breathtakingly beautiful. All of the white light that floated down was completely absorbed by Su Xian. And on the surface of Su Xian's body, there seemed to be a layer of light. This scene lasted for 26 minutes. The light on the surface of her body completely merged into her body. Everything returned to normal. The entire room, incomparably quiet. Su Xian was still calmly lying on the bed, as if nothing happened. Suddenly, her eyelashes moved and she opened her eyes. At the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, a pile of metal wreckage was piled at the bottom of the ocean. A golden-horned beast with a body length of 280 m stood beside the wreckage. Its huge dark golden eyes were filled with coldness and savagery. It extended its claws and a formless space ripple enveloped the surrounding area. Immediately, the pile of metal wreckage disappeared. Luo Feng, Luo Feng. Babata's clear voice resounded. It seemed extremely anxious. What's the matter? Luo Feng asked. It's Su Xian. Su Xian has committed suicide. Babata shouted. What? Luo Feng felt his mind go blank. His head was filled with blood. The golden-horned beast's dark golden eyes suddenly became extremely bright. Anger and anxiety were hidden within. You can't joke about this. I'm not joking. It's true. Babata said. You bastard. Didn't you say Su Xian would definitely be fine? I said before that I would use the internet to let you imitate my voice and communicate with Su Xian to calm her down. What did you say? You said Su Xian wouldn't believe me. She would only think that it was the AI I left behind before I died. Without seeing me in person, she wouldn't believe me. Alright, I admit that what you said made sense. However, you promised me that Su Xian would definitely be fine. Now. Luo Feng's mind was about to explode. Don't be anxious. Babata saw Luo Feng so angry. He knew he went overboard with his joke. I'm not done yet. She's not dead, she's not dead. Luo Feng was stunned. What's going on? Luo Feng was a little angry. It's like this. Su Xian has indeed committed suicide. Her body's functions are completely destroyed. Her soul is about to dissipate. However, the couple's safety talisman I gave you back then saved her. I don't know if she was unlucky or lucky to have done so. This couple's safety talisman's true name is Eternal Love. Babata said. Eternal Love? Even though Luo Feng had inherited the memories, he didn't know what eternal love was. You don't know about eternal love. Do you know about eternal body? Babata said. Understood. Luo Feng said. A human's lifespan. For example, a star traveler's lifespan is a little over 1,000 years. A star traveler's lifespan is 1 era. A universe traveler's lifespan is 10 eras. A domain lord's lifespan is 100 eras. A sector lord's lifespan is 1,000 eras. Only by becoming an undying warrior can one be immortal. Jumping from the student level 9 to the star traveler level is a leap in one's level of life. Jumping from the star traveler level 9 to the star traveler level is also a leap in one's level of life. Every level is a leap in one's life essence. And within the same level, for example a star traveler level 1 and a star traveler level 9, the difference in power is a few hundred times. However, their life essence is the same and their lifespan is the same. When one's life essence leaps, the entire body's genes will undergo a heaven and earth shattering change. This is the body's evolution. A human soul can live for a very, very long time. Normally, it can last for 1,000 eras. However, the body's nature has its limits. No matter how good the medical treatment is, one will eventually die of old age. A star traveler's body can last for a little over 1,000 years. A star traveler's body can last for an era. Until a sector lord. A sector lord has an internal world. With the internal world absorbing energy from the outside world and supplying it to the body won't age. At this point, lifespan depends on the soul. The soul's limit is 1,000 eras. Hence, a sector lord's lifespan is 1,000 eras. Only a transcendent sector lord, reaching the evolution of the soul essence. Only then can one be eternal. Star traveler, star level, universe level, domain lord, sector lord. The evolution of life essence is the most important. And from sector lord to undying. It's the evolution of the soul. In the vast universe, there are some strange races that are born with an eternal body. Their bodies will never age. Only when their souls die of old age will they die. Their bodies are known as the eternal body. P.S. Chapter 1 here. Chapter 268. The universe is fair. Bestowing them with natural eternal bodies, it also prevents them from ever being able to train and improve. If they want to train, they have to abandon their original bodies and undergo the possession. Babata said, even though they can't train, the temptation of the eternal body, Luo Feng, just think about it and you'll understand. For example, some undying's children are universe level, their lifespan may only be 10 eras. They would definitely be willing to give up their children's souls to obtain the eternal body. Luo Feng nodded. Without being able to raise their strength, being able to live up to 1,000 eras, which was 1,008 to 1,000 years, was also extremely tempting. The undyings in the universe, or a few powerful countries, use various methods to research the eternal bodies of the races. Finally, they extract a special genetic substance from the eternal body. After that, they seal it in cold silver, becoming that little silver card, which is also the universe's extremely expensive eternal love. After all, one eternal body can only be extracted once. Babata said. Luo Feng immediately understood races with natural eternal bodies were probably very pitiful in the universe. In the universe, there are many with power and influence. Lifespan is something countless people chase after. The possession technique is one, however, it's very precious, and also very hard to train. Luo Feng, you relied on your teacher's inherited soul imprint to change your soul, and with your teacher's inheritance, you were able to use the possession technique. Babata said. To obtain the possession technique and learn it, it's no less difficult than buying an eternal love. And the body that is possessed is usually weaker than the original body. Babata said. The most important thing is, the possession has its risks, you may even end up dying. It's not as good as eternal love. One eternal love can directly change the original body into an eternal body. Of course, after becoming an eternal body, one can no longer train. Babata said, to train, one has to abandon the eternal body and enter another body. That special genetic substance can only be extracted from natural eternal bodies. Like Su Xian's modified eternal body, there's no way to extract it again. Babata said. Luo Feng nodded. Right. Otherwise, a modified eternal body that has lived for 10 million years would die soon. Getting someone to extract the genetic substance again? That's simply a dream. You're saying that Su Xian has 1,000 eras of lifespan? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. Yes, and her body is immortal. The only way to kill her is to destroy her soul. Babata said. Although eternal love is precious, with your identity as a teacher, storing a few copies of eternal love is not difficult. It was actually your teacher who arranged for you to wear eternal love before he died. Even if your physical body is destroyed, you can rely on eternal love to reform your broken body, and it will still gather together. This is a life-saving trump card. However, I'm worried that with eternal love, you won't have a sense of danger and won't be able to train yourself. That's why I didn't tell you about eternal love's effect. But I didn't expect you to abandon your physical body and use a soul attack. Not even eternal love can save you. Luo Feng laughed and let out a breath of relief. Fortunately, it was a blessing in disguise. After all, Luo Feng was very clear. Su Xian couldn't even become a fighter. Even with the spirits of nature, Muya crystals and countless treasures, reaching the Star Traveler level was the limit. But now, even though he couldn't cultivate, he had an eternal body. Yangzhou City's Mingyue district, Luo Feng's house. Su Xian sat in front of her desk, stunned. What's going on? Su Xian's mind was in a mess. Suddenly, a notification popped up on the laptop screen that there was a new email. And the weird thing was, the message automatically opened. Su Xian, it's me, Luo Feng. The first line of words made Su Xian stunned. Creasing her eyebrows, she was very clear that many of the top people on Earth had AIs, Luo Feng too. Some letters, phone calls, videos etc., it was hard for her to believe, because her brother Su Gang had done such things before. I know you're suspicious, however, you just committed suicide. The protective amulet I gave you should have worked, hence, you're alive again. And the protective amulet should have disappeared. Su Xian was stunned, immediately touching her chest and looking down. Indeed, the protective amulet was gone, only the buckle was left. This made Su Xian reveal a look of shock and joy. Knowing that she had just committed suicide, and that she was alive again, could it really be Luo Feng? Luo Feng didn't die? I know you're suspicious, however. 6 months, I should return home in 6 months. The latest is 7 months. Alright, remember, don't do anything stupid. Luo Feng. After reading the message, Su Xian felt as though her dried-up heart had been filled with a spirit spring. The black and white world suddenly became colorful, the future suddenly filled with hope. Maybe it's true, maybe it's true. The matter of dying and reviving obviously made Su Xian believe it more. 6 months, the latest is 7 months. I want to tell father and mother, tell Luo Hua and the others this good news. Su Xian was extremely excited. That day, when Luo Feng's family saw the message, even though they were all shocked by Su Xian's suicide, they all said that Su Xian. However, the contents of the message filled the entire family with hope. Even though they suspected that the AI system was faking it, they still waited for 6 months. Year 2061, March 9th, night. Night fell. Luo Feng's family were all at home eating dinner, laughing. Dad, Mom, don't rush me, it's rare for me to return home for a meal and you're already rushing me. Alright, I'll tell you, this summer vacation, Zhen Nan and I will go get our marriage certificate. Luo Hua laughed. As of now, Luo Hua had gotten another house in the Mingyue district. After all, his wife-in-law was living here. It wouldn't be good for him to stay at home. And with his status, getting a house was simple. What's more, he was a fighter too. That's more like it. Luo Honghua and Gong Xian Lan laughed. The 2 babies in the stroller beside were crawling around, laughing foolishly. Why isn't Su Xian back yet? Gong Xian Lan couldn't help but look outside. Right now, little Xian is focused on her work. It's a good thing. Luo Honghua laughed. Gong Xian Lan nodded after hearing that. Right, if she were to commit suicide again, it would be troublesome. Suddenly Luo Honghua and Gong Xian Lan's eyes immediately dimmed. Putong! 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 The bodyguards in the yard all fell to the ground. The 2 nannies in the kitchen also fell to the ground. Luo Honghua and Gong Xian Lan lowered their heads on the table, not moving at all. Complete silence. Only the sounds of the 2 babies could be heard in the villa. Who? Luo Hua looked outside coldly. Mr. Luo, how are you? 2 men dressed in black suits smiled as they walked in, as though they were walking in their own home. One of them was white, the other looked like a South Asian. The South Asian smiled. Don't worry, they were only momentarily hypnotized by me, I didn't kill them. 2 representatives have graced us with your presence. What's the matter? Luo Hua said solemnly. Nothing much, I'm just taking a few things that belong to star travelers, things normal mortals don't have the right to use. The South Asian smiled. Don't worry, I won't kill anyone, however. I hope you can stay calm. The moment you order the metal robot, I can only make these people purring. The South Asian made an exaggerated expression. Their souls will all explode. Seigo-Neru, your Earth's only star traveler level spirit reader, is there a need to do such a thing? Luo Hua said solemnly. He was very clear. No matter how fast the metal robot was, it couldn't compare to a spirit reader's thoughts. Seigo-Neru, India's spirit reader genius. Ever since Luo Feng and Eastbourne fell, this Seigo-Neru, who had just broken through, became the only star traveler level spirit reader. There's a need, of course there's a need. Seigo-Neru smiled. Mr. Luo, the current global situation, I'm sure you know a little. You think, just because your Luo family has the treasures left behind by Luo Feng, you can stay out of this? What's more, leaving these treasures with your Luo family is a waste. Muya crystals? Seigo-Neru revealed a smile. They were actually hidden in the basement. Oh, 18 Muya crystals? And quite a few spirits of nature? What a huge sum! No wonder it was left behind by Luo Feng. Seigo-Neru exclaimed. Luo Hua's expression was ashen. He understood, the opponent used his spirit energy to find them. How do we control the metal robot? Seigo-Neru looked at Luo Hua. No one can control the metal robot. Luo Hua shook his head. Even I can't. My brother's orders were to protect the Luo family. It will always obey my brother's orders. Oh. Seigo-Neru nodded. He could understand. Suddenly, the basement door automatically opened. A locked chest floated out. Seigo-Neru extended his hand to catch it. Thanks. Seigo-Neru smiled. Let me give you a piece of advice. The more power you have, the more treasures you'll have. Otherwise, as for that robot, it's powerful. But it's still just a robot. Oh, even if we're a few 100 meters apart, I can still destroy your family's souls in an instant. Hence, don't do anything stupid. Wei Nua, let's go. Seigo-Neru turned and left. Representative Wei Nua followed beside him. Luo Hua watched Representative Wei Nua and Seigo-Neru leave. He didn't dare make any movements. The disc-shaped fighter jet was only 300 m away from his house. Even on the jet, Seigo-Neru's spirit energy attacks could instantly kill everyone in the Luo family. Bastard! Standing in front of the window, watching the disc-shaped fighter jet leave, Luo Hua's expression was ugly. Luckily he had split the 60 Muya crystals into a few portions, hiding them in different places. And 18 Muya crystals, to the representatives, was already very shocking. After all, Hong, Thunder God and the rest only managed to get more than 10 Muya crystals. What happened? What happened just now? What happened to me? His bodyguards, Nanny and Luo Hong's parents had all awoken. Luo Hua comforted them, not telling them the truth. There was no other way. Luo Hua could only endure. Against fighters, the metal robots could intercept them faster. However, against spirit readers' soul attacks, the metal robots couldn't intercept them in time. And the conversations that happened, the metal robots automatically transmitted it to Babata. Naturally, Luo Feng knew about it too. Wei Nua? Seigo-Neru? The over 300 m long golden horned beast in the raging sea, its dark golden eyes burning with rage. Babata, you said there with the 5th chairman Atkin that coward, he's always kept a low profile. During the swallowing monster incident, he didn't even show his face. Now he's so ambitious. Back then I looked down on him, now. Atkin. Neru. Luo Feng was furious. He was already feeling guilty about not being able to see his family before. He didn't expect Atkin and his group to be so ambitious. They actually used his family's lives to threaten him. No matter how furious he was, Luo Feng had to endure. Even though the days he endured felt like years. Finally, the first body was successfully nurtured. Year 2061 June 2nd was the day Luo Feng hatched from his shell. P.S. 2 chapters completed. On the first day of the new month, the monthly votes have fallen behind. Brothers, Tomato urgently needs monthly votes. Brothers, please support me with your monthly votes. Click below to recommend the author for monthly votes. Chapter 269. Golden mist surrounded the continent. This was a continent completely made of metal. In the air above the continent, an oval-shaped egg floated. Caw. Cracks began to appear on the eggshell, as an arm extended out from the shell. Finally, the eggshell cracked open. A completely naked, well-built black short-haired man floated in the air. His eyes were as deep as the ocean. Being stared at by him, one would feel an indescribable sense of fear. His height was 1.78 m. Even though he was a bit skinny, he was like steel that had been tempered 100 times, giving off an endless sense of power. The black short-haired man looked around the golden continent. This is my inner world? The man's eyes flashed with a strange light. Shwa. He vanished. At the same time, rumble. A 320 m long golden horned beast covered in black scales appeared on the continent. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, within the turbulent undercurrent, the golden horned beast immediately vanished. At the same time, a completely naked black short-haired man appeared. I've finally changed back. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with excitement. Core. Luo Feng's thoughts moved, his thoughts entering his body. He could clearly see that in the center of his chest, heart and lungs, which was also the Shanzhong point, there was a slowly revolving core, covered in strange golden engravings, emitting a faint golden light. The core was very, very small. Back when the golden horned beast was 180 m, this core's diameter was only about 20 centimeters. And when Luo Feng became a human, the core's diameter was only a few millimeters. Genetic energy. Spiritual energy. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Rumble, large amounts of golden mist were transferred from the internal world into Luo Feng's body, swiftly gathering at his abdomen. Dan Tian, swiftly revolving and gathering, with the internal world's large amounts of metallic universe energy. Luo Feng's Dan Tian swiftly formed a miniature planet, 2 planets, 3 planets. Star Traveler Level 3. The current Luo Feng's body could only handle so much. To improve further, he had to gradually strengthen his body, raising the capacity of his Dan Tian. Rumble. At the same time, within the core, Luo Feng's soul that had already reached the star level 3 was madly absorbing the universe energy from the outside world. The moment the universe energy was absorbed into the core, it was immediately refined. However, it was just a simple refinement, reaching the Star Traveler level 5 or 6 before swiftly leaving the core and entering Luo Feng's consciousness. The surging psychic power continued to gather, and soon, a qualitative change took place, forming a soul planet. After about half an hour, it finally stopped. Within the sea of consciousness, a blood-colored planet was in the middle, with 5 other planets revolving around it. Planetary state rank 6. Luo Feng, your body is at the Star Traveler level 3 stage. However, your special ability before was the Diamond Body, so your body's strength is comparable to a Star Traveler level 4 fighter's body. Accommodating a level 6 planetary state Spirit Force planet is already the limit, Babata said. Understood. Luo Feng smiled as he opened his eyes. Beside him a liquid silver guard flew over. From the guard's storage ring, he used his spirit energy to create a barrier from the ocean water and took out a set of clothes to wear. Emoyun. Luo Feng looked into the distance. The blood vine that covered thousands of meters suddenly shrunk and flew straight towards Luo Feng. After the cloud contact vine recognized its master, it would only have one master for life. The moment Luo Feng's soul was destroyed, the cloud contact vine would die too. Shwa. After the cloud contact vine shrunk, it melted into Luo Feng's skin and disappeared. Waves of emotions came from the vine's consciousness. Happy, looks like I'm the same as before. Luo Feng exclaimed, however in essence, my soul's core is still the core and internal world. The body was nurtured from the internal world. Then, Luo Feng's current body was the same as the golden horned beast's body. Their weak points were the core, soul, and internal world. And Luo Feng's human body, even if his head was destroyed, he wouldn't die. As long as he had enough energy, he could still regrow it, just like the golden horned beast. Luo Feng, I let you choose another race's body. You insisted on choosing an Earth human. The golden horned beast's body's evolution speed will far exceed your Earth human body's evolution speed. Even though the internal world has the metal universe energy supply, your body's genes are too weak. No matter how much energy you have, what can you do if you can't eat it? Babata was obviously still unhappy. Luo Feng laughed. He understood this theory. The golden horned beast relied on the internal world to grow. The internal world grew and expanded. Then the golden horned beast would immediately absorb large amounts of energy, swiftly growing another level. That way, the golden horned beast and the internal world could maintain the same speed. However, Luo Feng's body's genes, compared to the golden horned beast, were far too lacking. Evolution couldn't keep up. It's still alright, I can't be too greedy. Luo Feng smiled. At least, I'm a Star Traveler Level 6 Spirit Reader now. The human body's state was that of a Star Traveler Level 6 Spirit Reader. The moment he used the golden horned beast's body, that was a Star Level 3 golden horned beast. In a little over a year, he had stepped from the Star Level 1 to the Star Level 3. That was fast. The further he went, the slower it got, especially when he broke through to the universe level. The time he spent was the most. Rumble. Luo Feng stood on the soaring shuttle, swiftly breaking through the ocean. High up in the sky, Luo Feng stood on the soaring shuttle, heading towards the European continent, his expression cold. Luo Feng, ever since the swallowing beast incident, the world's strongest warriors have fallen. The War God Palace has closed. Without a leader, there's no one like Hong, Thunder God, and you, who have absolute power to control the situation. Hence, the situation has been chaotic. And the fifth chairman Atkin from back then has become the current strongest warrior. Atkin, Yen Hai, were originally representatives of the HR Alliance. However, ever since the European Union's strongest warrior, also the HR Alliance's strongest warrior, Eastbourne, fell. Atkin was the boss. He and Yen Hai teamed up, along with a group of representatives. Whether through threats or forceful methods, they swiftly took control of the HR Alliance. Also, Atkin and Yen Hai have befriended Sego Nehru. And Sego Nehru, as a genius from India, was naturally invited to join the Thunder Dojo. He's now an investigator of the Thunder Dojo. According to the information I've gathered, this power, Atkin was originally the fifth chairman. Yen Hai was initially defeated in the competition for the chairman position, but his power was comparable to Jia Yi. These two are very strong. Sego Nehru is currently the only Star Traveler Spirit Reader on Earth. He's also the one whose talent I praised back then was only below yours. Luo Feng's expression was cold. This power is led by Atkin, Yen Hai and Nehru. These three are the three Leviathans. Under them, there are still a few Star Traveler Level 1 and even Star Traveler Level 2 representative fighters. They are currently the strongest power on Earth. Below them is the Dojo of Limits. The Dojo of Limits has the most loyal 3 personal guards. They're very united. After that, there are the 5 great countries. Finally, there's the Thunder Dojo. Ever since Thunder God fell into a deep slumber, Nehru joined the Thunder Dojo. The internal strife within the Thunder Dojo has been very intense. Luo Feng was shocked within as he listened. Controlling the entire HR Alliance, and even infiltrating the Thunder Dojo, this power was indeed terrifying. Relying on blood and iron methods, all sorts of thunderous methods, whether it's killing or stealing, this power has already established a solid foundation. Every country doesn't dare offend them. Babata said. Atkin, the strongest fighter. Nehru, the strongest spirit reader. And Yen Hai, who was closer to Atkin. M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia-e Sokolov, did their families meet with any mishaps? Luo Feng naturally wouldn't forget the 5 heroes that fought with him against the golden horned beast. More or less not as good as before, however, no one dares to openly bully the families of the 8 heroes. Only M.O. Henderson's family was slightly worse off. One of them died. The public said it was a car accident. Babata said. Luo Feng's expression became even colder. The power struggle was extremely cruel. On the surface it seemed peaceful, but in the dark, who knows how many people died, and new people took over. Life got a little better, there's no more danger, and then some trash began to appear. Luo Feng's killing intent became even thicker. Under the influence of the golden horned beast, the current Luo Feng was much more violent than before. Back then, when I was risking my life, I didn't see them, but now they're jumping around more happily than anyone else. They even dare to threaten the families of the dead heroes, stealing their belongings. Damn! Damn! Luo Feng's gaze was cold. When there's no tiger in the mountain, the monkey becomes king. Atkin? Yanhai? Neru? All of you die. When he was at the Star Traveler level 3, Luo Feng was already proud of his peers, able to kill the Grand Emperor, on par with Hong and Thunder God. And now, the Star Traveler level 6. Killing those people was like stepping on ants. European Union, Paris headquarters city, the sky was bright. Dressed in a suit, his originally white hair trimmed tastefully, Yen Hai held a glass of wine, sitting on the balcony of his villa's 3rd floor, his mood exceptionally good. Taking a sniff, Yen Hai closed his eyes in enjoyment, raising his head and downing. Delightful! Yen Hai exclaimed in enjoyment. He really liked his current life. Back during the Grand Nirvana, he thought the apocalypse was a dream world for warriors like him, where he could live like an emperor. Beside him gathered a group of helpers similar to Vulture Liao. However, that punk Jia-e, his sense of justice was too strong. The 2 of them fought to the death. The 2 of them were the 2 strongest warriors of China, and their strength was very close. However, in the end, he was forced by Jia-e to leave China, hiding in the distant European continent. For tens of years, he didn't even dare to take a step into China. And now, whenever he wanted to go to China, he could do whatever he wanted. Jia-e was dead. 4 chairmen had fallen. Luo Feng, that sick bastard, was dead too. Only the 5th chairman Atkin was left, and he was his good friend, on the same side as him. Good wine, good wine. Yen Hai smiled from ear to ear, pouring and drinking by himself. The past days were so oppressive, but now, he was extremely happy. HM? Yen Hai's body trembled slightly, slowly turning to look behind him, his heart filled with fear. How can this be? How can this be? Relying on the Muya crystals, I've already stepped into the Star Traveler level 3. Even if Atkin was stronger than me, he wouldn't be able to get behind me without me noticing. On this earth, there can't be such a person, impossible! His heart roared. However, Yen Hai still slowly turned, his eyes focused, staring at that position. He wanted to know just who was it. Dressed in military trousers, a simple vest, short black hair, his entire person looked extremely valiant, his eyes incomparably cold. Yen Hai's eyes were wide open. No, no. Yen Hai's face was flushed red, as though he had seen a ghost. Impossible. You don't look like you've seen a ghost. If you don't do anything wrong, you don't need to be afraid. I am Luo Feng, I'm here to take your life. The cold voice resounded. Rumble. Yen Hai felt his soul rumble, immediately being smashed apart. After his soul was destroyed, his entire body went limp and fell to the ground. Luo Feng coldly glanced at him. You're the first. So. He had already reached the distant horizon. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 270. Master, it's time to leave. A respectful voice came from the stairs leading to the balcony. Master! Master? After shouting a few times, the puzzled housekeeper hastily ran up to the rooftop. Looking around, he immediately saw the peerless expert, Yen Hai, lying motionless on the ground. This caused the housekeeper's expression to change drastically. "Master, what happened to you? What's wrong with you?" He ran over and squatted down to check for breath and pulse. "Dead?" The butler's eyes widened in fear. How could Master die? Didn't the doctor say that Master's body was extremely healthy, even healthier than a young person? How? The true lifespan of a star traveler warrior was over 1,000 years. This was known to the higher-ups of the Earth's ancient civilizations, but this butler didn't know. In just a moment, Yen Hai's trusted aides and family doctor were already by the corpse. "His body is perfectly fine, no injuries." The doctor examined the body and shook his head. "It can't be, this body is extremely healthy, he shouldn't have died. From a medical point of view, if there was nothing wrong with his body, he shouldn't have died." But they didn't have any way to examine his soul. North America, Washington Bay City of the USA. A black limousine slowly drove on the street. Sitting in the limousine was the #1 person on Earth, Atkin. With his unparalleled power, he forced the entire HR Alliance to re-elect him. He replaced Isadora and became the new chairman. He held the highest authority in the HR Alliance. None of the 9 core families dared to oppose him. And before the swallowing monster incident, he was the 5th chairman of the Palace of War Gods. Atkin was extremely skinny. He had a small beard, and his eyes seemed lifeless, but they would occasionally emit a frightening light. This person, before the swallowing monster incident, was incomparably low-key. Even Hong, Thunder God, and the others didn't feel that this Atkin had any ambitions. But as the warriors above him fell one by one, Atkin's ambitions were finally revealed. "Hello." Atkin took out his phone. "Chairman, Mr. Yen Hai was found dead 15 minutes ago, on the balcony of his house. As for the exact time of death, we can't be sure." A slightly nervous voice sounded. "What?" Atkin's face changed, his heart was in chaos. How could Yen Hai die? Who on earth could kill Yen Hai so easily? How did he die? Atkin hurriedly asked. "I don't know. No one in Mr. Yen Hai's family heard anything. No one knows how or when Mr. Yen Hai died." Atkin frowned and said in a low voice, "The cause of death cannot be determined. Yes, Mr. Yen Hai has no injuries on his body. His body is very healthy, he shouldn't have died." As soon as the other side finished speaking, Atkin's expression changed. "But..." Hanging up the phone, Atkin squinted his eyes, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. "It's a spirit attack. Only when one's soul was destroyed would this happen. However, there was only one star traveler spirit reader in this world. Seigo Neru. But Seigo Go is only a planetary state level 1. He doesn't have the ability to kill Yen Hai." "Who is it? Who is it?" 2 silhouettes flashed across Atkin's mind. Easter, who had always been on top of him, overflowing with talent, even stronger than Eastbourne, Luo Feng. "But they're dead. I saw Eastbourne's body with my own eyes. When Luo Feng's life energy weakened and disappeared, it was broadcasted all over the world." Atkin's expression suddenly changed. "Not right, Luo Feng. Luo Feng." He thought of the slumbering Hong and Thunder God. Back then, Hong and Thunder God's life energy had also disappeared. Even though they had no brain waves and were living dead, no matter what, they weren't completely dead. Moreover, the Devourer beast had even been resurrected from the dead before. No one saw Luo Feng's body. From start to finish, there was no sign of Luo Feng's body. "Don't tell me, he's still alive?" Atkin's expression grew even uglier. Back then, Luo Feng easily killed the 8-tentacle emperor. He wasn't someone Atkin could mess with. Against the 8-tentacle emperor, he would be easily killed. And back then Luo Feng easily killed the 8-tentacle emperor. Luo Feng, that young yet incomparably powerful abnormal being, was on par with Hong and Thunder God. He, Atkin? He had to look up to Luo Feng. If Luo Feng really came back and found out that he, Atkin, had sent Sego Neru and Wei Nua to his house to steal the Muya crystals, then the consequences… No, no. Atkin shook his head continuously, extremely anxious and furious. It was Luo Feng, he was done for. Even if it wasn't Luo Feng, to be able to kill Yen Hai without a sound, he could probably kill Atkin too. Hello. Atkin immediately made a call. Sego Neru, it's me, Atkin. I suspect Luo Feng isn't dead, and he just killed Yen Hai. You have to be extremely careful, it's best if you leave immediately. Asia, India, New Delhi headquarters city. Due to the time difference, while the skies in the European Union were brightening, New Delhi headquarters city was in the middle of the day. The scorching summer sun enveloped the entire city, and in the east of New Delhi headquarters city, there was a rather large castle. That was India's ancient and extremely powerful Nehru family. The Nehru family was originally the strongest in the political world. However, ever since one of the family's disciples, Sego Neru, swiftly rose, following which he became Earth's only star traveler spirit reader, this caused the Nehru family's power to rise greatly. Ever since Mr. Sego nodded his head, willing to accept spirit reader disciples, more and more people have come to visit. Spirit reader, that isn't that easy to improve. Mr. Sego Neru is Earth's most powerful spirit reader, and he's so young. Even compared to China's Luo Feng, his age is similar. Mr. Sego Neru is our India's pride, an absolute spirit reader genius. I believe he will be like Mr. Luo Feng, becoming incomparably strong. The outside world is saying that Mr. Sego Neru is the second Luo Feng. On top of the castle, 2 guards looked at the luxurious car parked in the parking lot outside, discussing softly. Within the castle, in the guest room, there were already 2 groups of guests gathered. Please wait a moment, Mr. Sego Neru is currently training. Once he's done, he'll receive you together. A man dressed in silk clothes smiled and said, Alright, we're not in a rush. The 2 groups of guests had a total of 8 people, of which 2 were young spirit readers. Obviously they had just awakened not too long ago. In the air above the Nehru family's castle, a silhouette appeared. Strangely, no one saw this silhouette. Babata, your stealth system is indeed not bad. Luo Feng complimented. This is nothing. A clear voice resounded. Isn't it just controlling the distortion of light, causing the light to enter the eyes of the spectators below to not change at all? That's too simple. The universe's advanced technology ships, interstellar battleships, even if they were to stop in the air above your city, if they didn't want you to see them, you wouldn't even be able to see them. Luo Feng didn't doubt it at all. When he was in his golden horned beast form, he relied on Babata's signal shielding, causing Earth's life detectors to be unable to detect the golden horned beast's life energy. These are all child's play. To a fighter, getting close to him, even if he doesn't use his eyes, he'll still be able to sense it. Babata said. Luo Feng gazed below. His spirit energy was incomparably gentle, sweeping across the castle below without a sound or trace. It could definitely be said to be silent. No one noticed Luo Feng's scanning, including the newly advanced Star Traveler Spirit Reader Sego Neru. He's a Star Traveler level 1, I'm level 6, just based on level alone, I'm 32 times stronger than him. Not to mention the fact that I've trained in the Control chapter and the Illusion chapter, my control and control abilities are much stronger than before. Luo Feng shook his head. After going through the UNMO planet system, he could clearly feel, in terms of spirit energy, he was much stronger than the opponent. So, Luo Feng rushed down. Within the castle, a youth dressed in a luxurious black long robe laid on the sofa, his legs placed on the glass tea table, in his hand was a wine glass, within the glass was a beautiful red wine. Ooh. Sego Neru gently drank. Competing with me? That old bastard, he's already so old. I'm very young, in terms of potential, how can he compare to me? Right now, the moment I say I want to take in a disciple, how many powerful families want to send their children to be my disciple? I am Earth's only star traveler spirit reader. The situation is on my side, with Big Brother Atkin and the others helping. Plus my Nehru family, the power and influence within India. The position of the Thunder Dojo head will definitely be mine. Sego Nehru raised his head, revealing a disdainful smile. Woo, there's someone saying I'm the second Luo Feng. I've heard these words too many times. Ever since he broke through to the Star Traveler level, when others praised him, they actually said he would be like Luo Feng and so on. At first, Sego Nehru was proud and happy. However, the more he heard these words, the more annoyed he became. My age is similar to Luo Feng's. I'll also soar in the future, becoming stronger and stronger. Like a flood, like a thunder god. When that time comes, I'll let people say, Luo Feng is the second Sego Nehru. Haha. Sego Nehru, who had achieved success at a young age, was extremely proud. Suddenly, his phone rang. Hello. Sego Nehru answered. Sego Nehru, it's me, Atkin. I suspect Luo Feng isn't dead, and he just killed Yen Hai. You have to be extremely careful. It's best if you leave immediately. Atkin's voice resounded from the phone. Sego Nehru was shocked as he stood up. However, when he stood up, his gaze immediately noticed a person standing at the door behind him. He was dressed in military long pants, a simple vest, yellow skin, black short-haired young man. His gaze was like a sharp knife piercing into his soul, causing his heart to palpitate. Sego Nehru's eyes stared wide. This appearance, 99% of the entire world recognized him. Sego Nehru's face was pale. Fear. He used to think he was very strong, however when this person stood in front of him, with just one gaze, he couldn't help but feel fear. And he had even gone to someone's house to steal a remnant. Sego Nehru, are you talking? Why aren't you talking? Atkin's anxious voice resounded. He's already here. And 2 chapters completed. Looking at the monthly votes, it was simply speechless. The competition was simply too intense. Do you have a monthly vote? If you do, hurry up and go. Tomato urgently needs the support of his brothers. Chapter 271. Sego Nehru's forehead was beaded with sweat. The person's eyes were filled with a terrifying killing intent, that sharp and cold gaze, a gaze that made one's heart palpitate with fear. It was simply similar to the world's live broadcast, the golden-horned beast's gaze that made the entire world tremble in fear. Sego Nehru squeezed out a smile. Mr. Luo Feng, you're actually still alive. This is simply. There are many scum in this world, but for scum to reach your level. Luo Feng's gaze was cold, immediately a thread of spirit energy undetectable by the naked eye, like a sharp needle, pierced straight into Sego Nehru's consciousness. The miniature planet within was like tofu, immediately pierced through. Rumble. Sego Nehru's eyes stared wide, filled with fear, after which he slumped to the ground. Looking down at Sego Nehru's corpse, Luo Feng's body flashed and disappeared from the door. High up in the sky, Luo Feng stood on the soaring shuttle, becoming a beam of light, heading towards America. From birth till now, Luo Feng wasn't some good guy, nor was he some righteous hero. Only, he had his own bottom line. There were many scum in this world. Luo Feng wouldn't let his sense of justice explode and punish everyone. After all, where there's light, there's darkness. However, Atkin, Sego Nehru and Yen Hai, these three led the powers that made Luo Feng furious. They either threatened or robbed the loved ones of the heroes. M.O. Henderson, Eastbourne, Tripathi Singh, Jia-E Sokolov, you all died honorably. And these three bastards, they didn't let you rest in peace even in death. I definitely won't allow it. Luo Feng's gaze looked across the ocean towards America. According to Babata's infiltration of the world's surveillance system, Atkin was currently in Washington Headquarter City. Washington Headquarter City, Due to the time difference, it was currently late at night. The luxurious car stopped by the side of the street. "He's already here." Hearing the voice from the phone, Atkins' eyes stared wide. "Not good, Luo Feng really isn't dead, he's really back." Atkins' forehead couldn't help but perspire cold sweat. Simultaneously thoughts flashed through his mind. Without a doubt, Luo Feng first killed Yan Hai, now he was definitely going to kill Seigo Neru, then the next would probably be Atkin. What to do? What to do? This Luo Feng is vicious and merciless, and he's so strong. Atkin got more anxious the more he thought. His forehead and back were sweating profusely. Hurry! No matter how he thought about it, it was a dead end. Rush to Luo Feng's house and take his family as hostages? No, his family has metal robots that can stop me. And from America to China, it's too far. My speed isn't as fast as Luo Feng's. I'll definitely be intercepted. Atkin thought of many methods, swiftly rejecting them one by one. There's no way out, the Earth is only this big, with Luo Feng's power, I have nowhere to run. Atkin gritted his teeth. That's the only way. Atkin immediately picked up his phone and quickly made a call. Immediately, gather all the important media in Washington headquarters city as fast as possible. Also, through our HR alliance, notify all the media in all the headquarters cities around the world. This night was destined to not be peaceful. The number one person on Earth, the chairman of the HR Alliance, Atkin, began his struggle for life. Washington headquarters city's largest plaza, Freedom Plaza, in the middle of the night, many media vehicles rushed over, with a high decibel broadcast sound. It caused a large number of American citizens to wake up from their sleep, seeing the large screen in Freedom Plaza light up. The large number of vehicles around immediately attracted many citizens to come down. The HR Alliance's chairman is about to announce news that will shock the entire world. In the next moment, I believe the entire world will be shaken. Yes, don't doubt it, the HR Alliance's chairman, currently the strongest person on Earth. He's about to publicly announce a huge piece of news. All the media immediately began reporting. And on the large screen in Freedom Plaza, it also showed the scene of Hong, Thunder God and the Swallowing Monster's death. It also showed the scene of the 6 heroes entering the ocean, along with a detailed introduction of each of the 8 heroes. Why is the screen showing the events of the 8 heroes? Don't tell me the announcement has something to do with the 8 heroes? Don't tell me the vegetative Hong and Thunder God have awoken? First, the large number of residents in the surrounding skyscrapers of the plaza all came down to surround the screen. Asia, Europe, North America, South America, Africa, the HR Alliance had a certain amount of influence in every place, to the point where they directly controlled a portion of the media. And today, Atkin was throwing money at a few other media outlets, causing the entire world's media to simultaneously broadcast the news. Every single website on the internet had pop-up windows. Right now, it was night time in America. But, over at the European Union, it was morning. Over at China and India, it was the hottest time of the day. Covering television and the internet, countless people on Earth instantly knew about it. What's going on? What's the big news? The HR Alliance's chairman is personally announcing it. All over the world, whether it was on the internet or watching TV, they all immediately discovered it. Even those who were busy working or sleeping were notified by their friends. Clearly, something big was about to be announced. Washington headquarters city, Freedom Plaza. Let us welcome the HR Alliance's chairman, Mr. Atkin. Under the spotlights, under the media's long and short guns, Atkin, dressed in a white shirt and black suit, walked up, looking very formal. His aura of being able to control the energy of the universe naturally made everyone around him quiet down. This was obviously an existence surpassing the war god level, someone that normal people had to look up to. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching the broadcast from all over the world. Atkin couldn't hide the excitement on his face. Today, I'll first introduce everyone to a person. He is an overflowing genius, the youngest spirit reader to surpass the war god level. He once killed tens of emperor-level monsters and a grand emperor by himself. He fought the swallowing monster's final battle, killed the swallowing monster, and saved humanity from disaster. Who is he? Atkin was extremely excited. At the same time, on the large screen behind him, the information regarding Luo Feng from the 8 heroes immediately appeared. Luo Feng's glorious history, large amounts of pictures, words and videos continuously appeared on the large screen. Yes, he is Luo Feng, Earth's most overflowing genius, the greatest genius. Atkin's voice was filled with excitement. In front of the television and internet broadcast, countless people on Earth seemed to have returned to a time from a year ago, a time that caused countless people to be on tenterhooks, feeling like the end of the world had arrived. To the 8 heroes that had passed away, in their hearts, they were the 8 saviors of the world. And among them, the youngest who made the final killing blow, Luo Feng, was worshipped and respected by countless people. I respect him, I respect him. I'm sad for his passing, I'm sorry for his passing. Humanity has lost a peerless genius. Atkin suddenly said mysteriously, however, has everyone realized, from start to finish, no one has found Luo Feng's body. The warriors that entered the ocean back then only saw the swallowing monster's body, they never saw Luo Feng's body. Silence. The entire plaza suddenly went silent, following that was an uproar, an unsuppressible excited discussion. Yes, your guesses are correct. Atkin's voice was incomparably resounding. The news I want to announce today is our Earth's greatest genius, Luo Feng, is still alive. Yes, he's still alive. Rumble. The entire plaza went into an uproar. Rumble. Around the world, countless people in front of their televisions went into an uproar. Countless people in front of their computers went into an uproar too. At this moment, the entire Earth went into an uproar. China, Luo Feng's family's first-level living room. Beside was a baby bed. Luo Hongguo, Gong Xianlan and the nanny all stared at the television screen. Our Earth's greatest genius, Luo Feng, he's still alive. Yes, he's still alive. From the television, that excited voice and the uproar that seemed like it was about to shatter the television, made the excited Luo Hongguo and Gong Xianlan, who were holding their breaths, shout out excitedly. Quickly, get little Xian to come back. Inform little Hua. Luo Hongguo and Gong Xianlan excitedly dialed their phones. The 2 children in the crib next to him were leaning on the bars of the crib and staring at the TV with their big black eyes. Baba, Baba. One of them even pointed at Luo Feng's picture on the screen and made a sound. Luo Hua was in front of his company's computer, and Su Xian too was in front of her office desk. They were all staring at their own computers. The weather was originally hot. Wei Wen, who was taking an afternoon nap, was pulled over to the computer by his girlfriend. What? Wei Wen was so excited his mouth was wide open. Extreme training camp. Back then Luo Feng's teacher Jiang Fang was also in front of the television. Back then, Janet, who had once chased after Luo Feng, and another young man who chased after her, stopped in a pedestrian walkway, looking up at the big screen. Countless people all over the world were watching this scene. The 8 heroes were already like saviors. What's more, with the media's propaganda etc., they had long become gods. And now, amongst them, the youngest and most talented one was still alive? This was announced by the HR Alliance's chairman, to the entire world. When I heard this news, I was so excited I couldn't sleep. Hence, I couldn't help but tell this shocking news to everyone. He's a hero I respect. Incomparable respect. Atkin seemed to be incomparably excited that the hero he worshipped was still alive, and in front of the television, computers, street screens, the countless people all over the world were extremely excited. They didn't suspect that Atkin was in disguise. From their point of view, it was normal to respect the 8 heroes. Suddenly, above the plaza, a beam of light swiftly descended, before stopping and slowly descending. The entire plaza, including Atkin, went silent. The entire world, in front of their televisions and computers, went silent. The entire world went silent. Everyone looked at that silhouette. He wore military long pants, a simple vest, with a head of short black hair, a pair of eyes as deep as the sea. Slowly descending from mid-air, that formless aura could even be felt through the screen. P.S. Chapter 1 has ended.